Hey everyone, just a reminder that I'll be showing Pulgasari in 3D on July 31st at the Guild Cinema in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Ticketing and other information can be found at guildcinema.com. And because this is a movie that is very near and dear to my heart, I'm also putting out a little limited edition zine program pamphlet thing to go along with it. So if you're interested in that, you can purchase one of those along with your ticket. Yeah, hope to see you there and enjoy the show.
Well, and after this, you're going to have to do an episode with Greg and Brian. And I'm sure there's something they would both be interested in. I know. Does Greg like wrestling?
No. Does Brian like human chimp bestiality?
I'm gonna guess that his disinterest in animals extends to bestiality as well.
No,
yeah.
I don't like animals
sexually,
unless they're fucking. That's the only time I like them.
He's like, I just hate when there's movies about animals and they're not just doing that.
Matt LeBlanc should have fucked that monkey.
Well, and that's why he ultimately fell off his interest in Kevin Smith, was because he would put chimps in his films and never go that extra mile, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Just not something that's one bit of aberrant behavior. Or wait, no, Clerks 2 has bestiality.
That's true.
It does, yeah.
I was about to say it's the one bit of aberrant behavior that Kevin Smith never propped up, but he did very, very notably. Yeah.
Oh, Kinky Kelly.
Kinky Kelly and the Sexy Stud. That's right.
From
that iconic feature film.
Let's get into it, I guess.
Let's do it.
Hello and welcome to Dead Formats, a movie podcast that I guess is heavy into crypto now. I'm your host, Chris, and this episode we're going to be discussing KillRoy Was Here from 2022. This week we are joined by two very special guests, a couple of gator chasers. Murph, Rob, welcome. How are you doing this evening?
I'm great. I'm so excited to talk about my guy, Kevin Smith. My lifelong guy. Somehow I've stuck with this man through thick and thin, including now a film I never thought I'd watch. KillRoy Was Here. So
I'm doing great. I'm a little hot and sweaty, much like a Sarasota boy.
Yes. So Murph is one of the hosts of the weekly podcast Massacre. He was featured on the show very recently to discuss The Mask from 1961 with his co-host Greg. Greg.
Put on the mask. Put on the mask.
Greg unfortunately could not make it this evening. He was recently institutionalized after The Mandalorian and Grogu completely broke his brain. And Rob is one of the co-hosts of Box Office Gross. They were last featured on this show to discuss Mother Goose Rock and Rhyme from 1990. His co-host Brian, he really wanted to be here tonight, but he had prior engagements. He begged and pleaded for us to move this recording. I think he said his whole podcasting career was leading up to this moment.
Yeah.
But we just couldn't sync up our schedules. So, I'd like to think he's here in spirit. This one's dedicated to you, Brian.
I'll be sure to, my taste on Kevin Smith is his. So, I think we are very much aligned in our affinities. So often.
Yeah, the film we're going to discuss is KillRoy Was Here from 2022. I'm hoping that films released in the form of an NFT are already a dead format, but only time will tell. But before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about our respective relationships with this film's director, Kevin Smith. Let's let you go first, Murph, because I imagine it's shorter.
I don't know how much shorter. I mean, I have watched him for years now. I mean, since I was in high school, loved Clerks. Remember seeing it on like the IFC channel late at night and getting to see like, the special ending where Dante dies. But ever since then, I enjoyed quite a few of his movies. I remember making my dad take me and a group of friends to go see Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. And he hated it. I listened to Smodcast for years and years, eventually fell off, and would listen to some of his other podcasts. Like, what was the Hollywood one with Ralph Garman?
Hollywood Babylon,
yeah. I listened to a lot of that. Tried to listen to some of the Edumacation or whatever, and just really kind of fell off eventually. One of those stories I do love to tell is that I went to see Tusk in theaters with my ex at the time. And we go in, and a couple rows ahead of us is like a older male individual, and then his dad, it seems to be going with him. So like a 30-year-old, like a 50 to 60-year-old. And when the shit starts going down and they like do the Justin Long reveal of that he's being turned into an actual walrus, the dad stands up and just walks out of the theater. And the son sits there for like maybe a minute or two, eventually goes into the aisle and just stands there for another minute, and then slowly walks backwards so he can view as much of this as possible.
Wow.
And I hope he eventually got to finish the movie.
He's true to his dad. Like, he's not going to make his dad sit through any more wait for him, but he is going to make sure he gets every second, every frame he can get out of Tusk before he has to abandon ship. Wow.
And I do remember really liking Tusk for how bizarre it was. And then I think no movie that he did afterwards was even slightly for me or enjoyable. Never saw Yoga Hosers, never saw the Jay and Silent Bob reboot, haven't seen 4:30 movie. So, but I'm glad I got to see KillRoy Was Here before any of that trash. And I did pull out, I do have the Dogma 25th Anniversary Steelbook.
Oh, nice.
Which is great. I wish I would have had time to watch it before this recording, but sadly I did not.
Wow. And
sad.
So Rob, pretty recently you went very long on your relationship with Kevin Smith in a special episode of Box Office Gross where you guys talked about Clerks 2. So everyone go listen to that if you want to hear all of it. But Rob, feel free to say as little or as much about your fraught relationship with the films of Mr. Smith.
I will, because I went so long in that episode, keep it short, but I do recommend checking that out. Yeah, because I went and I made a pilgrimage to Kevin Smith's movie theater in Jersey, the Smod Castle, specifically to see Clerks 2 in this incredibly cumbersome, 5-hour stop-start commentary experience, which I speak on in that episode. We talk about the movie. It's a really long episode. It's insane. So, yeah, I mean, Kevin Smith has been one of my favorite directors since I was maybe 11 or 12. I just stumbled into his work via, I guess, Chris Rock. Chris Rock was an actor I really enjoyed when I was a kid. And I watched things like Down to Earth and Head of State they were coming out. Yeah. I was really into his couple major late 90s, early 2000s vehicles. And so I would just, if I saw him on a DVD at Blockbuster, I would check it out. I would give it a go, which is how I also saw Nurse Betty, which a 12-year-old should never see. And there's nothing for a 12-year-old in Nurse Betty. A very bizarre film. But yeah, so I think I saw Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back for that reason. Had maybe seen Dogma already, because my sister, I think, had watched it, but I didn't really clock it as much of anything. But Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, it unlocked Kevin Smith to me. I was like, well, clearly there's a lot going on here, so I've got to dig in. And I watched all of his movies up till that point, pretty quickly thereafter.
Yeah.
And he's just been one of my guys since then. I think initially it was oh, wow, this guy talks a lot. His characters, the vibe of his movies is kind of what I think I would like my life to be. I was very young. So, it's not like I had any, anything in my life was similar to that of the characters in the movies. But I was like, yeah, I do just kind of chilling out, talking about pop culture and just being silly and just whatever. It was just kind of, yeah, it was an energy that I found appealing and
chopping
rare.
It up with the boys.
Exact. Just guys being dudes in
the
convenience
ethical
stores.
Dilemma of working on the Death Star.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
Although I think my interest in Kevin Smith preceded my affection for Star Wars, which is really weird. And maybe it encouraged me to actually, dive into Star Wars because I'd been a little more disinterested by that point. But yeah, so I mean, I really liked his stuff up until, I don't know, my 20s, early 20s. I mean, that was it corresponded with him falling off in a pretty big way. I mean, and a lot of people would say he fell off a lot quicker than that. But for me, basically once he started doing paycheck jobs like Cop Out, I abandoned ship. And I also, like Murph, listened to Smodcast a lot. It was my intro to podcasting. I mean, I think probably for a lot of people it was pretty early. That and Seth MacFarlane's show. Or not Seth MacFarlane, Ricky Gervais's podcast were two kind of early celebrities are making radio shows. They just are releasing to people. It was very novel in the moment. And
now that's every podcast.
Yeah, now it's literally everything. It's we all bow to Kevin Smith and what he's done to the world of media. But I didn't see any of his stuff for the longest time after that. I think I did see Red State when it came out.
Yeah.
And I liked it. I thought it was a really interesting pivot. And I was excited for it as it was in production, and then was kind of disappointed by the outcome, but thought it was interesting. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, he's playing around after this complete catastrophe of the last handful of movies and becoming a depressed stoner in his giant Ben Affleck house and becoming obsessed with Wayne Gretzky and watching tapes about Wayne Gretzky endlessly in his room.
Crying to these videos.
Crying to videos of Wayne Gretzky. Truly, he was really going through something in a really very depressing way. And it was all broadcast on Smodcast. He would talk about it all. And his books, he was kind of writing books that were diaries of his day-to-day life, which were so depressing. And then, I've never seen Tusk. Still never seen Tusk. And recently was kind of feeling nostalgic, I guess, in a similar way as I have for Adam Sandler. I also watched a bunch of Adam Sandler movies I hadn't seen recently, and watched Yoga Hosers, Jay and Silent Bob reboot, Clerks 3, the last few. Yeah. I also haven't seen the 4:30 movie. Almost tried to fit it in today, but just didn't manage it. And this, I mean, it's not a love-hate relationship per se, but it is very much it's a family member I'm embarrassed about, Right. I'm just totally. I'm a little mortified by what he's got going on, while I'm simultaneously impressed by the way he's managed to leverage just such a feverish fan base who will basically just love anything he does to become a mogul, a weird small scale mogul who has weed shops, a movie theater, all kinds of weird, his podcasting empire, his cruises, which he's going to do another one soon.
Oh, sure. He also 2 television shows. He had the Clerks animated show, which I still have on DVD. And then, I did watch a lot of Comic Book Men because I was a big fan of the Tell 'em Steve Dave podcast, which was the sister coattails of the Kevin Smith stuff.
He also, I think, I didn't read that much about it, but I think the gist of it, just based on the artwork and the name, he tried to do a similar thing about his weed shops, but with Donnell Rawlins.
He did try to do that.
It was a failed pilot, didn't get picked up.
Yeah. He's had some weird, vestigial, just things that never happen. He tries so many different things. I think he also is he has a vegan food line or something, or whatever the case. He's vegan now since his heart attack. He had a heart attack a few years ago and became a vegan. And so he's really he will truly do anything if he feels is this what I need to do to maintain popularity? Is this what I have to do? What is going to keep people paying attention to me, listening to me, caring about the work that I'm doing? He also has a rich career as a comic book writer, which he's written some decent ones that I remember reading when I was a teenager and like, you know, in my early 20s. I don't know if he's maintained that. I haven't read any of the recent stuff, but
yeah,
he was once like not quite at the Joss Whedon level of like living in kind of two different medias at the same time, but almost. Like he wrote like a really, really, you know, well-liked Daredevil and a really, really well-liked Green Arrow. And there was kind of like
the movie Daredevil.
He is in Daredevil.
He did appear in Daredevil. Famously.
With Ben Affleck, who I don't know if you know this, he lives in his house.
There's also, he was in the Die Hard movie with Bruce Willis, and that was before Cop Out, I believe.
Yes, that's how they met.
Die
he
Hard
talks
4.
about it extensively on one of his Evening with Kevin Smith DVDs.
He is a guy, I think, for right around our generation, because he's definitely Gen X, but he seemingly is one of the directors that was always willing to talk about his art form. And like you brought up the Evening with, he had he was asked a single question and then spent 2 hours answering it. So he's always very verbose, like wanting to talk. But Rob, I think you really hit it. He has this like need for validation to be the funny guy in the spotlight, even though like in most of his movies, he is the Silent Bob character to the side. Yes. But he's the one running everything. And so he's like the idea man and, you know, the well of the comedy. And it's maybe running dry for a while now.
Yeah. I mean, I think that need for validation is very relevant to certain aspects of the production of this film. But just to give my brief relationship with him, I think I've seen the canon, which is basically everything up to and including Tusk. Never saw Cop Out. Chasing Amy I've seen maybe once, because when I was like really into Kevin Smith, I was obsessed with Dogma, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, and Clerks. I think Clerks would have been the first movie of his that I saw. I think I watched it when I was like 11 or 12 because my parents had a videotape of it. I watched it. I was like, this fucking sucks. It's black and white. I don't know what these people are talking about. I came back to it at a later age and definitely could appreciate it once I had, you know, grown up. But yeah, I became more of a fan of him as a person. Like I would watch all of his Evening with Kevin Smiths and just enjoyed hearing him talk because he's very good at it.
He is.
Somehow I never connected with his podcasts. I gave at least one of them a try and I was like, oh, fuck this. And now I can't listen to them because, as Rob and I found out, everything he's ever done is behind a paywall now.
More or less.
Which is sad because, I mean, I think it's also another thing is he just has so many funny friends. And the best thing about Smodcast was Scott Mosier. And especially when Kevin Smith started smoking pot in the same room and Scott Mosier is getting secondhand high. And they would just get so silly. And it was such an enjoyable two best friends for decades at this point almost. And like really enjoying each other's companies and then being dumb.
Yeah.
Totally.
So I saw Red State once when it came out. I remember liking it. Haven't seen it since. I fucking hated Tusk. And it's one of those movies that people whose opinions I respect on film are trying to always be like, it's good actually, but it's not.
I wouldn't go that far.
Pretty much.
It's like, worth a watch, I feel.
All of his movies come from that scenario that you were talking about, Murph. Like his last 5 movies have just been him high on a podcast coming up with the dumbest fucking idea. And then since he is who he is and he's had the career that he's had, he actually has the means to get them done. And we are forced to watch Tusk, Yoga Hosers. KillRoy Was Here.
Is he still working on Moose Jaws?
He'll never not be working on Moose Jaws.
It's long promised. It's kind of one of those things like Mallrats 2, right? Like he's always like, oh yeah, no, I've written this as a script 5 times. I've written it as a comic book. We've like live read some kind of version of it at a show, and it's definitely going to happen. And that's what Clerks 3 was for the longest time too. Clerks 3, had multiple manifestations, and I think he's always, yeah, sure, I'm definitely going to do this thing. Like when I went to the Clerks 2 show, there were like 5 different prospective projects that he was like, oh yeah, we're definitely going to do this. We're going to do Jay and Silent Bob, do some kind of Cheech and Chong adventure movie again. We're going to do, yeah, we are definitely going to do Mallrats 2. We're going to do, maybe we'll do Clerks 4, even though Dante's dead now or whatever. He's really just all over the place.
Dogma 2.
Dogma 2. Yeah, God, that would be so misbegotten. Obviously from KillRoy Was Here.
Yeah. Is this where your love of Jason Lee like grew?
Yes.
From him and Mallrats and
yes.
Chasing Amy?
Yeah, it was where it originated. So like I got to Kevin Smith from Chris Rock, I got to Jason Lee from Kevin Smith. And so those are kind of like some of my, Jason Lee is utterly bizarrely one of my favorite actors.
Right. Your holy trinity.
Truly, my holy trinity, Chris Rock, Kevin Smith, and Jason Lee. Jesus Christ.
So, for me, Jason Lee is kind of just whatever as an actor. He ranges from pretty good to pretty annoying, but I do not like him because he moved to the college town in Texas where I attended college and started gentrifying the place and opening up fancy restaurants that no one in the city could really afford to eat at.
Wow.
So
I thought you were going to say he hit on your girlfriend.
He may have.
He's got like a fancy photography shop or something. I don't know if it's in this. I assume it's in the same place.
Yes. This was over a decade ago, so he probably, picked the bones clean of that town and moved on to another college town. But yeah, I do remember him opening a camera shop.
He's no longer a Scientologist, and you shouldn't ask him about it, correct?
You are exactly right, Murph. Okay. You should not ask him about Scientology. It's off the books, but he is not one. It is there was a really, really good, I mean, you're basically referring to the only thing anyone knows about Jason Lee for the past 5 years, which is that he tried to renew his career, but as a photographer and guy who sells cameras, I guess. And in the interview, in the profile that was supposed to do that, the guy was like, "So tell me about your relationship with Scientology." And he instantly tried to get a kibosh on the story and get the guy totally. It was a whole thing. And the profile that resulted, that's I think ended up in Defector, is amazing. I thought it was very, very good. But it is oh yeah, something's still up with this dude. Something's going on with Jason Lee.
Yeah,
one of my guys. I've got the best. The best guys are my favorite guys.
Non-problematic, right?
Yeah.
I bet he really wished he still was a Scientologist when he found out that he could not quell the media anymore with threats of litigation.
Yeah, exactly. No power. There's no power when you're outside Scientology. You got to get back in the fold, man.
Yeah. So I guess that brings us to this film, KillRoy Was Here. As I said, this started in the same way that all of Kevin Smith's projects now start, a conversation on his podcast, Edumacation, which is co-hosted by some guy named Andrew McElfresh. Did he not
also write this as well with him?
He co-wrote it.
Yeah.
Yes, but to what extent, who knows? Because the co-writing could just be him participating in the conversation on a podcast.
Right.
We don't know because it's behind a paywall.
That's exactly right. It's such a shame. I otherwise would be so interested in listening to a podcast called Edumacation, co-hosted by Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
I was really intrigued by this guy, Andrew McElfresh. He was a writer on many, many episodes of Rocket Power, the Nickelodeon surfer skater cartoon, and then he wrote White Chicks, the Wayans brothers film White Chicks. Then wrote a bunch of stuff for he was on the team at the Tonight Show with Jay Leno, but the after he fucked over Conan stretch of the Tonight Show with Jay Leno, which is really funny. And then he's just been a Kevin Smith guy. He's just been hanging out, doing this podcast. He did some kind of show with him called Geeking Out. I've never heard of until today. There was a talk show about geek shit.
Wow.
And he's done VFX for him. He did graphic work on some of Leno, and then he did VFX for Yoga Hosers, which if anybody's seen Yoga Hosers, it does not speak well of his ability as a VFX artist. A movie I kind of like, I will say, because it's so utterly bizarre. But
it also stars his daughter, Harley Quinn, who's in this. But then Haley Rose Depp, is that her name?
Lily Rose Depp.
And then Kevin Smith is like a sausage Nazi, I believe.
Kevin Smith is a little sausage Nazi monster. He's actually many of them. There are many of them, right. But it's all him. It's kind of like doing the Deep
Oompa
Roy
Loompa.
And Charlie and the Chocolate Factory thing. Yeah,
Sure.
but with Kevin Smith. It's really weird. And then also Ralph Garman, who we'll talk about soon, is like the primary villain of the film Yoga Hosers. And Johnny Depp, who was basically his neighbor, Kevin Smith's neighbor.
Also in Tusk.
Is he returning as the Tusk character?
He recurs as the character from Tusk, which again, I have not seen Tusk. Yes, exactly. The French-Canadian detective or whatever he is. And one of the most cursed things that I thought about Yoga Hosers was that Johnny Depp was good and funny in it.
I mean, I was
I knew he was going to be there, and I was like, oh no, this is going to be so bad. And I was like, I laughed aloud at multiple things that Depp did.
Yeah, I remember his cameo in Tusk being kind of funny, and he was kind of nailing like the Quebecois English accent, which I feel is a difficult thing to do.
Pretty wild stuff.
Of course, returning champion Johnny Depp, because we did cover him on Secret Window. And I actually think he's a really good actor most of the time. I think he pulls off what he does in Secret Window. Have you guys talked about him on Box Office Gross?
Hot take, you think Johnny Depp is a good actor? Yeah, no, I mean, it is hard to say Johnny Depp's a good actor now. We covered him because we talked about Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, which is one of his absolute worst performances ever. I absolutely hate him in that film. I do, again, Johnny Depp was also one of my guys around the same time that I was getting into Kevin Smith. And I was, the Secret Window episode of your show was one of the first episodes I listened to when I met Greg and started listening to the show. I was like, oh, I gotta listen to the Secret Window episode because that was one of my favorite movies when it came out. I had a Secret Window poster on my bedroom door as like an 11 or 12-year-old, whatever year it came out. Maybe I was like 13, but I had a Secret Window poster from the theater where I saw it. And it was one of my favorite movies. I was like, fuck Fight Club. This is my Fight Club, a Secret Window. Because I was also obsessed with returning champion Stephen King. You know, like Stephen King, and then your recent Dreamcatcher episode, I felt the same way. Like I was so fixated on Stephen King for a certain stretch of my early teenage years, and then not at all after, basically. So all of those misbegotten King adaptations in the early 2000s that nobody likes, that nobody talks about, were my movies. I was like, fuck yeah, Dreamcatcher, because it's got my guy Jason Lee. Secret Window, because it's got my guy Johnny Depp.
John Turturro, yeah.
John Turturro, of course, who I love from Mr. Deeds. So yeah, I mean, it was just like, it's crazy the kind of shit that I was into as like a budding cinephile, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I can't even remember how we got to this point.
I don't either, but
Yoga Hosers is crazy
Johnny
in
Depp.
any case.
Yeah,
Johnny
you guys
Depp.
were talking about Kevin Smith being a Nazi in Yoga Hosers, which I think is relevant to sort of the background of this film.
For sure. I think so.
Wonderful Bridge.
It was originally a script called Anti-Claus, and it was going to be a Krampus movie, but the Adam Scott Krampus film came out in 2015, so they retold it.
And I believe you mean the Toni Collette Krampus movie.
Yeah, yeah, or
the Mafia Mama herself.
David Koechner, is that dude's name?
Yeah,
I think
box
so. Yeah,
office gross favorite.
Yeah,
or anti-favorite maybe.
Oh, he's in the Yours, Mine, and Ours episode.
He is very briefly.
Yeah,
he is very briefly. Yeah,
yeah. The whole Krampus Nazi thing in Yoga Hosers is kind of like, it's an example of how I feel like Kevin Smith has just sort of lost a step in keeping up with pop culture. It's something that he prides himself on, and he's always talking about, I've been on the internet since 1995, and how he's doing all of this stuff before anyone else, which is true to an extent. He's not lying about that, but it's like, I'm sure you both remember when Krampus became a meme, and it's all anyone could talk about for like 3 months, and this whole Anti-Claus script thing kind of makes me feel like Kevin Smith saw something about Krampus online and thought that somehow this was something that nobody else knew about, and that making a Krampus movie was like this totally original thing.
Which is a very childish kind of place for one's mind to go. Like, I still have this inclination where I'll see a meme or some viral thing or whatever, and I'll be like, that'd be so cool if it was a movie, right? I have that thought, which is just kind of a very undeveloped, very just kind of base thought. And then I take it nowhere because it means it's like not a good idea. Like you have to be creative and like really build something for it to be feasibly a film. And sometimes you can make that happen. But yeah, he just follows that thought as far as he can. He thinks, oh, this would make such a good movie. Ha 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 ha. And then he actually writes it. And because he just has like infrastructure, like production infrastructure, he just makes the movie. And you're like, I don't know that you should have done that, my dude. I don't know. I think it was a bad idea. And I mean, I'm glad that they beat him to it because that would have been terrible.
Yeah. I mean,
not that this is any better. But,
and not that the Krampus movie is better because I think that movie also sucks.
That's fair. I didn't see it.
It's probably better than whatever Anti-Claus would have been.
Anti-Claus is such a bad name, too.
I kind of like it.
It's whatever.
Yeah, it's very Smithian.
Yeah.
So the script gets reworked and it's no longer about Krampus. Now, for some reason that I've still been unable to grasp, it's about the famous "KillRoy Was Here" graffiti from World War II.
Sure.
The first meme.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that. There's some conversation in South Park that I think like really locks into like original memes of peace sign, bunny ears, fake dick. And I gotta assume those were all before World War II, hopefully. But to me, haven't listened to the episode, but it seems exactly like Andrew McFresh or whatever his name is.
McElfresh.
Mentioned it on the podcast and Kevin was like, ooh, what's this? Tell me about it. And then got a little bit of a history lesson, learned something and was like, well, I can just like, find Anti-Claus, substitute KillRoy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The script's done. We're good.
Yeah.
Start shooting.
It's an interesting story because it is, as they say in this movie, the first meme. Meme in like the Dawkinsian sense. It's just a very baffling choice.
Yeah.
For a horror villain. Like if you're doing holiday shit, which this is also around the time where he directed a segment in the movie Holidays, which is like a horror anthology.
Which I have not seen that either. Other
ways to go, like, I don't know, things that people actually know about and have like defined features or there's been a bunch of Easter Bunny horror movies, but no one's done it well. He could have just made an Easter Bunny or like any number of things.
You're discounting Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, so, watch yourself there.
That's true.
The problem is that Kevin Smith likes to talk and he likes to tell you about things. He likes to educate the viewer on things. It's why he loves to just throw endless, some might say interminable monologues in his films that are like, do you know this thing about that? Right? And it's like the skeleton of Dogma is basically just characters saying things about Catholic dogma that you might not know or understand if you're outside of that world.
Yes.
And he's really like relishing in that opportunity here to be like, wait, have you ever heard of KillRoy? What that was? Do you know what this might have meant? What it means? And do you know what Munchausen by proxy is? And do you know, like there's so many things he's just really like, I can't wait to show this to people.
Yeah.
And then he's like, but what if I didn't show it to them?
Yeah. I mean,
what if I made sure I didn't, ultimately?
That's also a criticism that can be leveled at Tarantino, who has some parallels in his career with Mr. Smith, although, Quentin has that famous arbitrary line in the sand of only directing 10 movies, so he has had quite a different trajectory. But there is that whole scene in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood where they're explaining how Italian movies were produced, and there's that a lot of thing in Kevin Smith movies that are literally that meme of a guy at a baseball game with like his hand grabbing his girlfriend's neck and just
I love that
something.
One. They do have a lot in common. It seems like even just their first like directorial debuts, Clerks and Reservoir Dogs, one primary location. There's some like flashbacks where they leave it occasionally, but it's mainly like a couple guys just talking about something.
Yeah.
Which is both of their strengths and both of their weaknesses for me, because
for sure
it can work really well. Or it can be
grating,
death proof, where it's fucking awful.
Where he's just like, you definitely just want to like listen to some chicks talk about a rock band you've never heard of for a while, right? Like, why not?
You want to see Mary Elizabeth Winstead in a cheerleader outfit, don't you?
Fair.
I mean, that's, he never hides his inclinations. We can say about Quentin Tarantino and Kevin Smith. Like they put themselves on screen. They're never hiding a thing, you know.
Yeah.
Except for whatever maybe their relationship with Harvey Weinstein might have.
Mm-hmm.
More of an issue for Tarantino, connection. I think. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they came up in the same circles, and same with Robert Rodriguez, and probably plenty of filmmakers we don't talk about anymore because they didn't hit in the same way.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But you do have to imagine the Clerks 2 ass-to-mouth conversation is like something he exactly had with friends of his. And he's just like, oh, I got to write this down. This is great. This is good stuff.
I mean, sometimes you think that, but sometimes you're like, did you just think this? And you were like, this is what a person would have a conversation about? Because that's a part of Clerks 2 where I'm just like, this is just foreign to me. Like, I don't know what you're doing and what this, but I don't know. It's very, I don't know. He likes to, he does like to get whatever he's thinking about on the screen, whether it feels authentic to conversation or not.
Yeah. So yeah, KillRoy. They decided it's KillRoy.
It's KillRoy. It's a little guy with a big nose, and he's like peeking over a wall. It's a little drawing. That's really all I know because that's all the movie tells you, and I didn't read about it.
I mean, that's really about it. It's sort of a combination of two things. One was a British drawing, which is the nose guy, that was named Mr. Chad, and a combination of American graffiti that was not the George Lucas film. Just KillRoy Was Here. Those two things combined and become this meme during World War II where people were just doing this graffiti. I'm not sure anyone really knows what it means. I don't think it has a meaning.
Yeah. It's like 6-7.
I think it was just to, try to strike fear in the hearts of the Nazis and have this like overarching, well, we have something in our corner that's constantly like fucking you over. So you better be ready for it whenever he comes.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Fair. And so, yeah, they have this script, and Justin Long, who had appeared in Smith's previous two films, Tusk and Yoga Hosers, he's in another one that I reminded Rob of earlier today. He has a small part in Zack and Miri Make a Porno, where he is the gay lover of Brandon Routh. Routh?
True.
I've only ever seen that once, so I didn't remember he was in it. Yeah, so Justin Long forms a relationship with the Ringling College of Art and Design in Sarasota, Florida, and he tells Kevin that this guy, David Shapiro, is interested in having Kevin go down there and work with students there to make a short film as this collaborative school project. So Kevin does this, and he convinces David Shapiro that they should flesh out this project into a feature-length film. They shoot a couple of the segments. Kevin Smith has his infamous heart attack in 2018. 6 months later, he returns to finish this film. When all is said and done, KillRoy Was Here has a budget of about $900,000.
It's all on screen.
Yep.
So it should be just as good as Obsession. Okay? No limitations here.
Sure. Yeah, it's going to hit just as hard when people finally get around to it. Once it gets past the NFT barrier, it's going to be the new Obsession of those who love Obsession.
Yeah. So the film was completed in 2018. According to Wikipedia, this was at one point set for a theatrical release before COVID ruined those plans. I don't think I actually believe that at all.
There's no way. It's an hour long.
No, and all of the citations on Wikipedia, when I followed them, it's just Kevin Smith is saying this is going to be released. It's going to be out there in the world soon. He never said this is coming to a theater near you. There was never any talk of oh, I'm negotiating with these people to distribute this in theaters. So I don't think that that's actually true.
Yeah, this film might be coming to a Smod Castle near you.
Yeah.
Is the only way it's going to play in a theater,
I feel maybe Hulu would pick it up. Definitely not Netflix.
Definitely not Shudder, which is another reason to not believe that this would be released theatrically, because Kevin Smith tried to do a streaming deal with Shudder. and he's given two different figures, 20,000 or 30,000, just like a flat fee to license this to stream on Shudder. And they were just like, nah, we're good. And
that's kind of brutal.
Yeah, I have this Kevin Smith quote about this whole Shudder thing that I really, really wanted to talk about. So he said, "When it was all done, I had this movie, perfectly watchable creep show type of movie. So I reached out to Shudder and I was like, hey man, you guys want to run this? It's a Kevin Smith original kind of horror movie, 30 grand. That was it. Shudder was like, this is terrible. This isn't good enough for Shudder. Then our producer on the movie, David Shapiro, he goes, I met with this company. They are interested in buying a movie to release as an NFT. The first movie to release as an NFT. And what they want to do is use it to showcase their blockchain technology. And I was like, oh, all right. Perhaps this is another version of indie film. This is a new playground to go play in. Company paid us over $1 million. I made $1 million off of this movie. Not good enough for Shudder. So we have to talk about this quote.
He is such a brat sometimes. Like, the man cannot handle rejection.
Yes.
Not good enough for Shudder, but I made $1 million on it.
Yeah,
and it's like
it's the need for validation.
Yes.
He got rejected, and he's like, well, that bitch was ugly anyways.
Psychologically cannot afford to confront the fact that he has made a bad movie. So the attitude in this quote is very much like, oh, look at how wrong Shudder was. They're so wrong. They said this movie sucked, but an NFT company paid me $1 million, as if this NFT company is somehow the arbiter of what is or isn't good art. As
yeah, they're
if they
venture
would
capitalists.
know.
They're just like, oh yeah, Kevin Smith, he's got a name. People kind of like that guy. They'll probably want to spend money on this. We have unlimited money, invisible money to throw at people. Let's throw it at Kevin.
We've already bought all the veterinarian clinics. Like, we got to do something with it.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, the like VCs, they started buying like all the vet clinics.
VCA.
And so it's all under one thing. So you don't have mom and pop vet clinics anymore.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. What a nightmare.
Because they're so rich, they got to do something with the money. It's just like piling up. So
sure.
If it's not making money for you, you're losing money.
Explains of the quality of a lot of veterinarians that I've had over the years. I'll at least give it that. Jesus.
So this is the Obi-Wan Anakin, you've become the very thing you swore to destroy. This is like Joss Whedon claiming to be a feminist and then being outed as an abusive asshole specifically towards women. This is a guy who is like this indie darling who manifested one of the seminal indie films of the 90s through sheer will and determination. Now just shilling
credit card debt
for NFTs. It's insane. I don't understand how his fans don't see this as a massive betrayal.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like
have they seen it?
That's the thing. I feel like he says it wasn't good enough for Shudder. I'll throw it to these guys for $1 million, and you can see it, right? Like, it's an experiment. It's a new kind of indie. It's a new movement or whatever. It's like what people say about AI now too.
Mm-hmm.
And the reality is, of course, he would never say the easier thing, which is the movie wasn't good enough for a conventional distributor. I still want to make money on it, so I did. The person who paid me makes it doubly appealing because now fewer people are going to see the bad movie I made and give it bad reviews. He doesn't want to get bad reviews. So, I mean, even though he's used to it and he kind of like makes fun of himself about it, you know, these days, but he's like, fewer people, it's not going to be notable. This is not going to be like a big thing. If this was going to be a huge thing, he would have made way, way more a point of saying, first NFT movie, this is going to be huge. Like, I'm sure he said it here and there in some of his, like, you know, Facebook reels or whatever. But I think he probably was like, this is going to guarantee like 5% the outrage it would have gotten if I released it. And my fans were like, wow, you really didn't bother with this one, Kevin.
Yeah.
You know? And it's also
I was just looking. Do you know how many reviews there are on Letterboxd?
I know it has 1/6 the number of logs as the 7-minute short about Dante and Randall talking about flying cars,
which is iconic, by the way.
Yeah.
So of course,
786 ratings.
Yeah. Not very
for
good.
a major movie director, Gen Z or Gen X, like huge name. Down the toilet.
How many have logged the 430 movie though?
Probably
there's
more.
gotta be more than that.
I mean, I'm sure it's more. It's just that movie feels like it really doesn't exist.
19,000.
Wow.
Oh, I see 16,000.
I don't know. Either way, that's considerably more than KillRoy Was Here, obviously. Yeah, it is. I think that Smith has been so in his own little world, his own little bubble of fandom for so long, for basically almost 20 years at this point, that I think no one's there to be mad. Like, there's me, I guess. There's people like me who are like in a love-hate, not even like they're obsessed. They're just like, I just like am fixated on this person as an artist, regardless of whether their work is good or bad. They might see, like someone like me would see, I released a film as an NFT and be like, that's really fucking lame. Like, that sucks, man. Like, that really is a drag. And those people are reviewing the film on Letterboxd and saying, what, half a star because it's an NFT, couldn't even watch it. Or I deigned to pay money to see this and it sucks, and half a star just because it's an NFT or whatever. But it's not going to be the majority of his fans. The majority of his fans, either didn't see it because they were like, what the fuck is an NFT? How do I do that? Or they pirated it and watched it and they were like, this is fine. Because I can't imagine watching this and watching Yoga Hosers or, I think Clerks 3 is kind of good. I don't know. Yoga Hosers especially. Like, there are people who really like Yoga Hosers and they're like, yeah, this is fine. This is fine. What he's doing, this is whatever. This is fine with me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really know how you get in that headspace. And if you're like, I feel like if you're not morbidly fascinated by the work, I mean, seriously, like, they're just too high. They're too high or they're getting too old or something. I don't know.
Thinner.
Yeah. So I didn't see like a lot of actual reviews from the time it came out because nobody fucking saw it. But
no one watched it. Yeah.
And like, Reddit comments or forum posts, the people who had seen it, the tone I was getting was 50-50 split between like, just I am a Smith head and I love any slop he's willing to put out. And then the other 50 were like, it's a great horror movie. If you like Kevin Smith stuff, you'll like it. And I was like, maybe I'm projecting, but I kind of felt like there was a little bit of like trying to make it sound better than it was, knowing that no one else will ever be able to see it, and like sort of lording that over other Kevin Smith fans. Like, I saw this and it was actually really good, but you won't see it because you didn't pay $180 for an NFT.
Yeah, real ones will actually spend the money and know that it's actually pretty all right. Yeah,
that was a question I had. Was, Chris, you provided this in a file. How did you acquire such a limited run of a movie?
Well, I can
he
tell
bought
you,
the NFT, of course.
Yeah,
he spent the money and he bought
legitimately
an NFT.
Because as Kevin Smith said, this is the company LegendDAO. They're doing this as a proof of concept to show that the blockchain is unbreakable and that there's no possible way you could pirate this. So I had to pay $180 for a little picture of KillRoy in order to watch this.
That is really the funniest thing about it, is that NFTs are propped up by the people who are trying to sell them as this essential new way for artists to maintain the integrity of their work and truly claim actual ownership over their work in an era where everything is just constantly digitally disseminated, right? Like there's no value to anything anymore because it is all just files on this vast web where anyone can get anything. And we are creating this perfect tool that's going to prevent that from ever happening. You will truly value your work at the level of an artist as you deserve. Like Wu-Tang Clan made a whole thing of this. And I feel like there was somebody else too, but either way, like Wu-Tang Clan was kind of the most notorious.
Yeah.
And yeah, sure. Sounds like it worked.
Fascinating that we've gone from this like, oh, we want to be able to individualize or at least like keep the integrity of an image for someone. And then we've moved on to AI where it's like, well, we just got to feed it everything. Like, the artist is fucking useless. We just got to feed the machine.
It pivoted pretty fast because that's the way the money moved,
It's the same people because it's the same money behind it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. They were like, oh, I guess people don't really give a fuck about NFTs.
Yeah.
Complete opposite thing. Let's do the complete opposite thing. And it's like, yeah, I mean, I guess there's probably a lot more like 40-year-old dads on Facebook just eating up AI slop than NFTs. So it's probably paying off a little bit better for them so far. But yeah, it's pretty embarrassing all in all. And
to Kevin Smith's credit, like in the things that I was watching where he was talking about this, he's smart enough to know that this would be pirated at some point, as is the case with all art of this sort. So he was kind of just like, yeah, it's going to be out there eventually. But the people that got the NFT, like they're just the people that get to see it first. And there seemed to be some sort of like thing about if you bought an NFT, there was some sort of like distributed distribution model or something like that, to where if you had an NFT, that was also the rights to distribute it. So if you bought an NFT, I guess
you just show it at a movie theater.
Yeah, or you could have made DVDs of it and sold it. And he was kind of hoping something like that would happen, but it didn't. Because no one cares.
No one cares. It wasn't the right movie. It's so funny when filmmakers do this with work that is so obviously not commercial. It's like Steven Soderbergh releasing Bubble online. His just truly like a film that I think is terrific, but has no stars, a super low budget, and is like Bressonian almost in how completely dry and static it is as a crime thriller. And yet he's like, and I'm going to release it, boom, to you free on the internet. Or probably not free, but to you on the internet. And yeah, it's like, yeah, that didn't make an impact because if you did that with Ocean's 12, then people would be like, oh, fuck yeah, I'm going to like try to pay for this movie on the internet. But it's so strange. And like, you know, Radiohead with whatever the fucking album it was, or no, it was in Rainbow. So I guess that was kind of good. I don't know. It's just weird when it feels like this so often happens with shit that nobody cares about.
Weird. Just like, I do not recall Bubble at all. And looking at it, produced by Mark Cuban.
Hell yeah.
Look, Soderbergh's a freak. That guy's he's tried. I mean, he's been a weird mogul in his own right. There's certainly parallels with him and Smith as well. Bubble is great though. You should definitely check it out.
I got to check this out. This sounds fascinating.
Yeah, you could cover Bubble on Weekly Podcast Massacre. I think you could make the argument.
American crime drama.
It's got a bit of a It's creepy. It's on the creepy side.
Well, if anything, we would cover Presence before Bubble, probably.
Oof, that's a fucking great movie.
We just had a haunted house fucking location, and I could have picked Presence. God damn it!
Should have picked Presence. That's a hell of a movie. I love that movie. Yeah, I want to quickly touch on the him making this with students thing briefly.
Yes,
because I don't know if it was better for the movie or not that I discovered that after I watched it, because there's a credit in the movie that's like in association with Ringling College of Art and Design or whatever it's called. And which is funny because it is named after the Ringling brother.
The circus?
One of the Ringling brothers of the circus. Yes, exactly that.
I was about to ask because it felt like I misheard you.
Yes, Ringling of the Ringling brothers. It's true. He didn't found the school, but he like helped fund it. And so, yes, so he made it in collaboration. He said in some like news interview with a Sarasota news station that it was like
it was filmed at a boutique honey shop.
I know it does. It's like he's like a fucking cafe. What is going on? But he like it's like 75% students and then 25%, but sort of just still emergent crew members. Like it didn't sound like most of the crew. I think it's mostly like the cast that's semi-professional, and it doesn't feel studenty. It just feels like slop. I mean, it just doesn't feel like, you know, whatever. Which is just kind of classic contemporary Kevin Smith. But it's funny because it made me think about I don't know if do you guys know Joel Petrakis? Like, are you fans of Joel Petrakis or aware of his films? He made like Buzzard, The Alchemist Cookbook, and most recently Vulcan Isadora. He's terrific. He's a Michigan-based filmmaker and film professor. His films are great. You should definitely check them out. You could definitely talk about The Alchemist Cookbook on Weekly Podcast Massacre.
That one I've heard of, not the other two.
It's pretty damn good. He's really, really good. He's one of my favorites. And he's super, super indie. Like, you know, all of his films are made on a pretty low scale and pretty sparingly. Like every few years, he finally gets money to make another one. But in between his features, he's been making short films with the classes that he teaches at the university, right? I don't know if it's the University of Michigan or a smaller university in like in or near Detroit, but he films these short films with all of his students and their actors and their crew, and he's kind of just like shepherding them as like a kind of a co-writer, co-director, and they're really good. They're really good. They're really charming. They're really inventive. They have the energy of emerging voices, and they have very youthful kind of vibe. Like they're not sophisticated in the way his features are. But I was like, this is, and Kevin Smith will say, oh, they really invigorate the work with youthful energy and excitement. And it's like, that's not there. But it totally is in the work that Petrakis is doing. And I'm like, yeah, I guess it really depends on the filmmaker, you know? Because like maybe these students would have had that experience if they were working with somebody who was like a little bit more considered in the work that he's making.
Mm-hmm. Someone who knew like about the craft of filmmaking. Like, because I mean, that's not even like dunking on him. He will readily admit, like, I'm a writer who happens to direct the movies he writes. Like, I don't know shit about cameras or how to frame a shot. I remember
the cop-out stories. He would talk about, like, his DP, and I can't think of his name, but the guy who shot Mando and Grogu.
Dave Klein.
Yeah, that was with him for a lot of times. He would just be like, yeah, I want it to look like this. And Bruce Willis was like, well, what kind of lens or, you know, what kind of shot? And he's just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
it's so,
it's so frustrating of like, this is your job now. You could learn something and you decided not to.
He could learn something. He could learn something. It's funny because you'll hear him like for a long time, his special edition DVDs, which were like a must own for me as a teenager because they were rife with supplemental commentaries and other stuff. He would have technical commentaries that he would be on with Dave Klein and Scott Mosier, his producer, and they would talk about the technical choices they made. And he would sort of be involved and seem like he was kind of engaged by it. But he was always like a little sleepier on those commentaries than on the just regular commentaries. Yeah. And it's like you just hear Dave Klein and you know, Scott kind of talking about the actual technical specifics. And Kevin's like, oh, yeah, you know, that makes sense. We did blah, blah, blah. And it's like,
well, less dick jokes to make at that point, right?
Yeah. It's like, how do you not just pick this up through osmosis over the years, you know? Like you've worked with the same DP over and over and over and over again. Isn't he like Kevin? Use this lens because of this, not just I'm going to do this thing. I don't know. Maybe Dave Klein is also really bad, though. Who knows?
Well, I did see Mando and Grogu, so
how's it look?
At least give him like a little packet to like flip through and be like, okay, now I know what I need.
Maybe you had to make a comic book out of it. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. To back up and talk about like Rob, you were mentioning all this stuff about this is kind of a student film. Shepherded into existence by Kevin Smith. There's two things about that. One, and I think he told this story in that weird honey shop interview that he did, where he's like, oh, it's so great working with these young kids. One of them came up with this, we needed an edible flower, and one of them came up with the idea to make one out of fondant so we could put it in the actress's mouth. And he's told that several times across all of the KillRoy Was Here stuff that I watch. And I'm like, that's great. It's cool that students are getting to use their creativity. Also, you could go to Home Depot and just buy like real flowers that are edible and like use those. So it's kind of like, I don't know. Like, I get that, yes, these students are using their brains and problem solving, but a very circuitous route around this very easily solvable problem. The second thing is that if this is mostly made by students, it seems very exploitative to do this NFT thing. And for him he said he made more money from this film than any of his other films because of how much this NFT company paid him.
That's pretty rancid.
It's like, oh, it's so great. They're going to get a credit on IMDb and I'm going to get multi-millions of dollars.
That's crazy.
It's kind of fucked up.
It's funny because your second point ties into something I was thinking about your first point with regard to the flower thing, because in that interview he says they're just so much more creative than the crews that you'll find in Hollywood because they just make a call to some warehouse and they bring in a flower. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's like, you mean these extremely accomplished creative design, like production designers that have been doing this work for decades, who are part of unions and are part of an infrastructure that requires you to pay them more, if anything. And I feel like I've never thought of Kevin Smith as being one of these guys who seems like he's kind of trying to avoid unions and like labor. But given how limited he's always made his productions, and his last 15 years being his own production company with his own little thing, his own little pipeline, it does really make me wonder, like, why is everything so cheap? Why is everything so I don't know. It's interesting to me.
We haven't brought it up, but he is a Jersey boy. So
he is a Jersey boy. He is a Jersey boy.
You know, connected anti-union.
Yeah, I don't know. I never really thought about that until I heard him talking shit about production designers of all people. Like, you are talking shit about production designers. Like, what experience have you had with a legit production designer? You know, outside of like,
none.
Yeah, like I can't think of anything that he would have done where he would have had experience with a real experienced,
Clerks,
sophisticated.
It's already there. Like, he's the one stocking the shelves. Mallrats, everything's there in the mall. You don't need anything. Like, it makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's weird.
Jay and Silent Bob, he probably just had someone go get some nerd shit from his comic book store and put it in Ben Affleck's house for that scene.
You did just make me think about one of the funniest jokes he's ever written is in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, is when Gus Van Sant is in the director's chair and he's
Jesus,
like, Ben, please, I'm fucking counting my money. I'm busy.
Ben, I said I'm busy. I've quoted that on Box Office Gross like 4 times. It's really like one of my favorite things. It's so funny.
It's a good movie. I haven't seen it in the last 15 years, but it probably holds up.
It's pretty good. Yeah.
So another interesting quote that he said during a Q&A about this movie was, "What a great business model. I wish every one of the flicks could work out the way that KillRoy did." Just like, yes, emphasis on being a great business model, but nobody's seen the movie. So like, yes, if you're only concerned about making money, great business model.
Yeah, not about the final product at all. Not about anybody seeing it. Not about, It's embarrassing.
So, finally, on July 12th, 2022, KillRoy Was Here was released on the NFT minting platform LegendDAO as 5,555 non-fungible tokens. There were 2 different prices for a KillRoy NFT. $130 in Secret, which is a 1-to-1 wrapped version of the Secret Network's native coin Secret. Or $180 in Secret. So there's that.
I can't believe this.
Yeah.
I feel dumber for hearing that.
I can't believe we just allow this to happen. I mean, what can we do? There's nothing to be done, but it's remarkable that we have to live in the world where this happens.
Yes, we 3 discussed off air that none of the 3 of us know shit about NFTs, so it's all Greek to me, but...
Yep.
I know it's a bored monkey. That's about it.
It's a bored monkey, or it's a GIF. Sometimes it's like a weird GIF. Sometimes, I don't know.
Yeah, or like a 3D model in the metaverse.
Yeah. And sometimes a feature film directed by Kevin Smith.
Yes.
So pretty cool. That's the best kind.
Should we start releasing our podcast on NFT? It's not like less people could listen to them, right?
Do
That's
it.
True.
I think go for it, but just make sure you give you throw us a bone for free to listen, Yeah. But otherwise, go for it. Yeah.
Yeah. Friends and family get it for free. All the regulars got to pay for it.
They're paid in Massacre tokens in like
which is a 1-to-1 wrapped version of
Spook Notes.
Yeah.
Boo coins. I don't know.
But yeah, so I guess we can get into the plot of KillRoy Was Here.
The rich plot, the rich narrative.
So the movie begins introducing us to what will be the wraparound story, tying this anthology together. A babysitter who is played by Harley Quinn Smith, Kevin Smith's daughter, is dropped off by her boyfriend to babysit a little girl named Tyler. The babysitter tells her boyfriend to come back in 30 minutes. The boyfriend makes a joke about going over to Janine Denning's house to have sex with her. And Harley Quinn says, if you cheat on me, I will fucking kill you. Title card.
What she says is, if I gotta wait, you gotta wait till later. But
30 minutes.
He is driving a purple Dodge Challenger. This is a pretty sick car. I would date this guy.
Yeah. He seems kind of annoying.
Even if he cheated on me, I'd be fine. I get to ride around in a purple Dodge Challenger. It's great.
I do like a Dodge Challenger. I said, I think on a recent episode of the show that I liked. I don't really give a fuck about cars, but I like the Dodge Challenger. So, although I admit I didn't clock the car. I did not, like you, Murph, clock the car. So
I'm a car guy. What, you know?
Yeah,
sure. What I do.
Gearhead.
You're with Murph now. You think he's going to let you roll in a Hyundai? Gotta quote Tokyo Drift. Great episode. Check it out on Box Office Gross.
Good movie.
Great movie. Yeah. Tyler's mom tells Harley Quinn not to give Tyler popcorn and not to let her watch the news, and she immediately does both of those things.
Whatever she says, do not let her eat popcorn.
Mm-hmm, as if she's a fucking mogwai or something.
But then why have it in the house if she can't eat it? Are you just that in love with popcorn?
That's mommy's popcorn right there.
Yeah. Mommy's got a date, okay? Mm-hmm. Do not touch her popcorn. The popcorn cabinet.
That's right.
Yeah, so there's a news story about a missing boy. Harley Quinn says that the missing kid was taken by a monster named KillRoy. KillRoy is a monster who has some kind of psychic bond with children, and I'm pretty sure that's a direct quote. Some kind of psychic bond with children. This is the level that this script is operating on. Mm-hmm. If you say his name, he'll come to kill you.
If you say his name 3 times, like Beetlejuice, except when the movie does not want to make it be 3 times.
Yes.
Right. When it wants it to be like 7 times or 1 time.
The fact that they even call out Beetlejuice later in the movie, like, Burton's gotta get a cut of that $1 million, right? Legally, he's entitled to it.
Well, I think that is a breaking of Cron's rule, which is never mention a better movie in your movie. Because everyone will just be thinking, I'd rather be watching Candyman or Beetlejuice.
Yeah. Yes.
KillRoy started life as a regular boy named Roy Huggins. Harley Quinn gives some background on the World War II origins of the KillRoy graffiti, like the first meme, as Rob said earlier.
That's right. It's the first meme.
Roy Huggins grows up and is drafted into the Vietnam War. He was captured by the Viet Cong, but 10 hours later, his platoon found that he had escaped, killed everyone for 10 miles in every direction, and ate the entire corpse of a VC soldier all by himself.
10 hours, and you're that hungry.
He's a big guy.
No explanation of why they were like, oh, so we're going to call him KillRoy. I guess, well,
his name's Roy.
Yeah, and the aesthetic similarity after he is put in prison for reasons, and the prison catches on fire, and he melts into the visage of the KillRoy graffiti.
I'm at least happy that it only takes like less than 6 minutes for us to get a full visual of the KillRoy, makeup and everything, which
we see him.
I don't hate. It's not great, but I do really love the eyes being kind of like the Keanu Reeves' mouth in Matrix.
Yeah.
Like when he's trying to open it and the tendrils.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was a doomed proposition from the beginning, but they probably did as good as they could, turning this like Ziggy looking character into a horror villain.
I saw a lot of references to Squidward on Letterboxd.
Sure.
Like, this is like evil Squidward. Squidward's really mad. Yeah. I think something weirdly appreciable about Smith's work as a misbegotten horror filmmaker is how much he uses practical effects. Like, he's very into makeup effects. Like I said, I haven't seen Tusk, but I know it hinges on quite a spectacle of practical effects, right?
It's pretty fantastic, actually.
Yeah, sure.
Disagree.
And then I'll break the tie someday when I see it. And Yoga Hosers, it has like kind of bad compositing, but I mean, Smith has like this crazy makeup. There's lots of makeup effects in that. It's a lot here. So yeah, I mean, it's like,
I respect a lot of practical effects in Dogma too. Thinking about it, like the wings.
Oh, sure.
Well, they had less of a choice back then.
They did have less of a choice. The what's the name of the shit monster?
The Golgothan shit
demon.
Yes.
Yeah, the Golgothan. Yeah,
looks great.
So yeah, there's some good stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, we don't have to throw him a bone for deigning to use practical effects in 2022 or whatever, but he does do it.
So KillRoy, I guess, went from Vietnam back to his home city of Sarasota, Florida.
Yeah. This whole film takes place in Sarasota. Yeah.
It does. And this is where we get the first of the anthology segments. Oh, go ahead.
Right before that, I do really love that Harley Quinn's like, how do you think your mom got this house for so cheap? And probably the funniest line in the movie is the little girl replying, housing market collapse?
I agree.
That's such a Kevin Smith line. It works. It works. There's a few like that. Yeah.
And I feel like this was written in 2013, so that was recent memory. The fact that this is in 2022 and like a 7-year-old girl says that actually makes it even funnier to me.
Right. Well, they're already teaching that in the history book, so she knows.
Yeah, sure.
So we get the first anthology segment titled Sunny. Inconsistent with having title cards for the segments, which I found to be kind of sloppy, but who cares? This one revolves around a widowed mother and her teenage daughter, Sunny, who has some sort of heart condition. They're throwing a fundraiser so that they can travel to Indianapolis for some sort of life-saving surgery. And Sunny is agitated, but her mother whips up some of her special tea that's sure to feel yum-yum in Sunny's tum-tum.
Well, I have an issue with this. She says she's making her special sweet tea, and as a Southerner, you do not serve sweet tea hot.
You sure don't.
So I don't know what the fuck she's going on about.
And no less than a cup of sugar per cup of tea.
Look, it's not she hasn't taught this kid what real tea is, so she doesn't know. Yeah. She doesn't get it. What does she say that she's making the tea out of? It's like on the note. Yeah, right. She's like, drink your nasturtium tea on the little note. Yeah.
When she searches on the internet, she inexplicably spells it incorrectly, even though it's on a sticky note right there. Right. She types nasturtium.
But she realizes it's not the right color, so then she types in blue flower, like that's going to result in anything that she knows.
Yeah.
And then blue flower poison.
Yes.
And she finds out that her mother is making her tea with wolfsbane, which in small doses produces arrhythmic heart function. And I looked this up. This is not Munchausen by proxy. This is malingering by proxy when they're doing it for financial means.
Oh, I see.
Financial motives.
So Munchausen is just about the like emotional
the attention that you get from having a sick daughter or whatever.
Okay. Sure. I mean, she does also like that.
She does do that.
Right.
She does like it. This is one of the main things in the movie that feels like Kevin read about something and was like, I think that's so fucked up. I got to tell a story about this.
He just rewatched The Sixth Sense, right? Exactly.
Sure. Yeah. He watched a fucking banger and he was like, I kind of like that. I'll do that. He uses it as an opportunity to do like a dad thing and tell this, little factoid that he learned about. And also, I guess like express some kind of bugaboo he's got going on with the Catholic Church. Well, it's not the Catholic Church, but with like churches right now. Like he's always been interested in religious hypocrisy and the role of religion in people's lives and stuff like that. But this is like he's in red state mode randomly, and he's like, churches are so fucking stupid, and they just don't get it. They are so they're so hypocritical. They're so it's wild. And what's a Smith head like me loves to see him cast in this sequence Betty Aberlin, or Aberline, however you would say her name, who is the nun at the beginning of Dogma, is a teacher in Jersey Girl. She's kind of been around throughout his filmography. And I only learned today when looking her up that she's Lady Aberline from Mr. Rogers. And I wonder if the reason she got cast in Dogma is because it was filmed in Pittsburgh and so was Mr. Rogers. And it was just kind of
makes sense,
incidental. And then the connection, she was like, you know what? I loved working with you, Kevin. I'm going to keep coming back for 20 years.
Yeah. Looking at it, they use her in Won't You Be My Neighbor in archive footage. So fascinating. She was in Jersey Girl and Red State. Wow.
She's not like huge in Jersey Girl, but she's like the little girl's teacher throughout the movie.
Teacher. Yeah.
She doesn't have a name. But I mean, her scene in Dogma is like pretty good, pretty fun.
Oh, it's great. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's not Ben Affleck, it's Matt Damon explaining it to her.
Yeah.
And then he puts the coin in her little cup is just like fantastic.
It's very good.
Who that Affleck?
But she's like, I don't know. She's like made up to look like a kind of mother you would see in the news doing something like this. Basically. In Florida. Yeah. Mm-hmm. This is very like Florida man coded movie.
Yeah.
Like,
and also go ahead.
As much as Kevin is talking about like in some of the, when he talks about making the movie in Sarasota, he's like, it's just built-in production value because it's beautiful down here. It's like he makes this place look like an absolute shithole that sucks. Like, no, and like I can't imagine watching this movie and being like, I would love to be in Sarasota. Looks great, sounds great. It's so bizarre.
Yeah. I can't remember what I was going to say. Doesn't matter. Nasturtiums. So at the church fundraiser that night, Sonny steps up to the lectern and gives a speech about how unusual it is that her father suddenly died after getting into a fight with her mother and drinking some of this special tea, and how unusual it is that her father died of the same rare heart condition that Sonny now suffers from. And I was like, is it really that unusual, or are a lot of things genetic? Like,
doesn't he also talk about like he had the Widowmaker heart attack, and like I'm pretty sure that's genetic as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very fascinating that like they're like, oh, we met our goal of $30,000. Like that's enough for a heart transplant.
Yeah,
right.
And I was gonna say, Rob, since you mentioned this is red state coded, it's like, well, it was written like 2 years after it, if this is one of the surviving segments from the anti-clause, so maybe he was just very much still on that kick.
Yeah, that's very possible. I also have to shout out just, to all of the Smith people in the movie. Ernie O'Donnell, who is his like high school childhood friend, was supposed to play Randall, but was too bad of an actor to do it in Clerks. And so he played like the guy who makes fun of Dante for not being able to lift a gallon of milk. He runs the Smod Castle now and is here as the priest at this church and will appear later as a more villainous priest.
Yeah.
So, shout out to Ernie O'Donnell. Oh, actually, I should, because I don't think I talked about this in our Clerks 2 episode. I'll use this opportunity to do this.
Hell yeah.
So at the event that I went to, I paid for the meet and greet. I was like, I'm going to go talk to Kevin and get a picture with him and Brian O'Halloran. And it was pretty long line, and people were trying to like get through it as quickly as possible. And when I got to the front of the line, finally, Ernie was kind of like shepherding people to Kevin and like, kind of making things move smoothly. And the person in line before me was like, like chatting with Kevin, getting the pictures taken. It was like very friendly. And Ernie was standing there like, oh God, he's just going to keep talking. He's just going to keep talking to this guy. And I was like, oh, Kev's really friendly, And he was like, that's not what it is. He just doesn't, he doesn't want to talk to these people. He just does it because he doesn't want to be mean or whatever. And I was like, brother, I'm in line to do this. This is a weird vibe. And I don't know if that's accurate, if Ernie is just like a grouch or something, but I thought that was so funny. He's just like, he hates this. He runs the theater and he's just like, this is the most annoying part of my life.
This job wouldn't be so bad if it wasn't for the fucking fans.
Hell yeah. That's exactly it.
I just noticed something as I was looking on Letterboxd. For the films directed by Kevin Smith, sorted by popularity, would you believe Clerks is not the top popular movie on Letterboxd?
It's Tusk. It's Tusk.
What?
I don't know.
Insane to me.
Do you think it's the A24 of it all?
I think it's the Letterboxd tendency of reclaiming actual slop instead of Rob's quote unquote slop.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I feel like maybe it's watched by people who wouldn't watch the rest of his movies because it's an A24 horror movie. It's got crazy, this weird thing in it. So I have to watch it. There's people watching out of like morbid curiosity in addition to actually being interested. I don't know. I saw that today and I was utterly baffled by it.
In one of the KillRoy Q&As where he's doing everything he can to talk about anything except KillRoy Was Here. He does talk about that very thing about how young people come up to him on the street and freak out and be like, oh, it's Kevin Smith. And like the person's friend with them is like, who the fuck is Kevin Smith? And they'll be like, the Tusk guy. He made Tusk. So
it's wild.
Young people love Tusk.
I guess I didn't realize A24 was like working that early. I mean, we did just cover Under the Skin in 2013. So like that totally makes sense. But wow, I would not have picked like, oh, what studio or, production company, distributor put out Tusk. I would have still said Miramax probably.
Sure. It was pretty early in A24's run. I think they were just kind of grasping at straws at that point. So
during Sunny's speech, she says that KillRoy's name 3 times and caps it all off by chugging some Wolfsbane tea to kill herself. And KillRoy comes and kills a bunch of people. The end. Yeah.
This is where Kevin's history as like a theater kid really came out to me in a way that it hadn't in a while. Like this whole sequence, I was like, is this whole movie just going to be like little 1-act plays? Because that's really how this one felt in a big way. And aside from, I guess, the effects stuff with, the KillRoy massacring the church or whatever. But yeah, it just felt very like so like hammer blow obvious. Like everything everybody is saying is so obvious and so clear and like shouted to the viewer and so pompous. Like it's just so full of itself and how vengeful the girl is, and it's just very it's pretty embarrassing. It doesn't
they try to like write in more lore about like, well, if you sacrifice your life to him and then your life is taken, he's upset about it.
They basically do that in all of the segments, but it's meaningless.
Every single one is different.
Yeah, not that specific thing, but what you're saying, like they write different lore in all of these segments. Yeah, it's just like whatever suits whatever dumbass story they were trying to tell in any given segment.
The biggest problem of this is that anthologies are typically like morality tales about different ways to like experience life and the way that you live it. And this one, like, all of the messages are like negating each other to the point where like I don't think there's any emotional crux to this thing. No. I do really like in this, like, there's some interesting gore that he's going for, some CGI that's like blood splattering everywhere. But I do really like the moment of KillRoy putting the flower in the mother's mouth. Like there's something there. I don't know if he actually earns that emotional like movement or moment to it, but like it's at least something that I appreciate, that he understands the way a story should work.
What's embarrassing is that this is the most sophisticated story of the bunch, probably, for exactly the reasons you're saying. Like, it's really obvious and feels really inevitable in a way that is boring. Like, it never feels like thrilling in the way it seems like it thinks it is. But it is presenting you with a scenario that has a relatively engaging visual element, this kind of like vulnerable kid who's kind of like amusingly keeps like taking her mask off because she just like, it's very like, it's funny that he made this before 2020. I'm just realizing how funny the kind of like the laziness about the mask is. But yeah, it just kind of feels too inevitable. It just feels like you know exactly what's going to happen. And it's just not the things that are exciting about it. You don't get to see, like, you don't get to see the kid learn about KillRoy. She just says during her speech, oh, and by the way, when I was reading about this poison, I also learned about a guy called KillRoy. And that's just kind of it. And so you're like, oh, well, so KillRoy is going to come kill all these people.
I could be wrong because I didn't actually like take this down, but I think it might be the shortest of the anthology segments, which is weird because it has the most of a plot.
That would make sense.
Like the
there's
next
not
one
a lot
is very long for what it is.
Yeah. It's also just fascinating to think about, like, the reason we're telling this story is that Harley Quinn is like, well, you know why your mom got this house, and supposedly it's the mother and daughter's house that they died and then took over.
Oh,
but it doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't really make it doesn't fold back into itself.
The frame is very lazy. The frame is very lazy, and in fact, they don't even bother with it to introduce the fourth one, which is really funny. But
yes,
yeah,
they roll right into it of like, oh, we're gonna like molest little boys, and then we're going to shame gay people.
Yeah, God. I think part of that is because in these things I've watched where he's talking about the production of this movie, at a certain point, one of the students that was working on it came up to him and was like, hey, it's kind of cool that KillRoy is like this guy that he's a protector of children and he takes vengeance on the people that do them wrong. And this was like after it was already in production. And Kevin Smith was like, oh, I didn't think about that. That's super interesting, which is why it seems very like that concept is sort of in here, but also sort of half baked because the child in this has to kill herself to fulfill some sort of blood oath, I guess.
Like, do you think Kevin Smith even thinks about themes as he's writing this?
As he's writing this, I'm not sure. No. As he's writing in general, I think he's sometimes a little too fixated on what the themes are. But
Jersey Girl, I totally agree. Like, I think that is something that he's like going for something. But everything else, I'd have to really like do a retrospective to think about, like, what is your intention with this movie?
Yeah. I think that sometimes it's almost counterproductive to what his intent is, because Clerks 2 is something where it feels like he has a lot of thoughts about his career and the malaise of his generation and all this stuff and how they set.
But it's all about friendship. That's what that movie comes down to, of like, how do you grow and keep the same people in your life that you were when you were a different person?
Yeah, but it is also about like transitioning into a different kind of person, because he, especially at this long thing that I attended, he was like, as I was writing this, I was realizing that Dante used to be he was my stand-in in the story. Right. And now Randall is my stand-in in the story. And the film is kind of about this pivot from me being more like Dante to being more like Randall. And then Clerks 3 is like really pushing me onto Randall, right? Because Randall becomes like a filmmaker and makes Clerks and stuff. And it's just kind of, but that's not always how it feels in the moment, right? I think he's a smart guy, I think, but it is kind of like, why doesn't it translate to who you are as a storyteller? I don't know. Maybe you're just not. Maybe you are more of a dialogue writer than a storyteller, and that's debatable sometimes. But yeah,
I'll push back. I don't think he's smart. I think he's not dumb. I think there's a difference in that. I think he's really good at dialogue and being funny, but also like Randall is based on Bryan Johnson, who did the Tell 'Em Steve Dave. Right. And that evolved, and their friendship kind of imploded right when Clerks was happening, if I remember correctly. If not for that friendship imploding, Johnson probably would have played Randall.
Yeah, that's probably right, because it was all just people around town and some people from like acting school or whatever. Yeah, totally.
And if like that's who it's based on, like it makes the most sense for him to do that. But yeah, this one, I think there's the most like actual idea within it, but it's not executed in a fulfilling manner.
And it's just not interesting. It's not an interesting notion about churchgoers being too fixated on kind of status and the look of a person's life rather than the substance of that life and what they actually need. You know,
throughout that whole scene, it's all of the churchgoers saying how hard it must be for the mom, right? And basically, not paying attention to Sonny, who is the one dying, and it's not Munchausen. What'd you say it was?
Malingering by proxy.
Malingering by proxy.
Pretty cool. Seems like it should be like a death metal band or something. Yeah, malingering by proxy.
Probably is.
Yeah, probably so.
But yeah, so I think he said several times, he's like, this is like Kevin Smith does Creepshow. That does not come across for me at all, other than the artwork that they put out for this movie.
Well, it's an anthology. Like, that's the only thing that's like a connector of it, really.
Yeah. That just is not there at all for me. And I feel like this and pretty much all of them, except maybe the last one, they end with like a KillRoy massacre. And I get the impression that these are supposed
massacre,
to be,
you say?
Yeah, a weekly KillRoy massacre. Segmentally KillRoy massacre. I get the impression that these are supposed to be like fist pumping, cheering moments, and we're just supposed to be just like enjoying this resplendent gore that we're seeing on screen. But I don't get that at all either, because, and it makes me wonder, like, yes, I know Kevin Smith is a huge film fan and has like an omnivorous film diet. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I've never gotten the impression that he actually cares about horror as a genre. Like, I'm sure he loves like Jaws or Alien, like the heavy hitters. But this kind of movie that he's trying to make, I feel like he has no actual love for or connection to it. And that kind of comes across in these things where it's like we're supposed to be cheering, but if you are a horror fan, you've seen all of this a million times and the story is half baked. So what is there to cheer for?
Yeah, I think he's an interesting, he's sort of like these filmmakers that have emerged in the last 20 years or so that stoop to working in horror because they know it's somewhere where they can work with a low budget and sell a movie to a distributor. And sometimes
it's a foot
that
in
works.
The door.
Sometimes that works out. So, sometimes like somebody who's not interested in horror working in that genre means that you kind of shift the language of the genre a little bit in a way that is interesting, or in ways that make it tedious and the same every single time the distributor puts it out. You know, not throwing stones at A24 necessarily, but sometimes that happens.
Get 'em.
And sometimes it's someone more like Kevin Smith who's like doing it for the same reason, but is not necessarily a visionary outside of the kinds of things he writes. And so he's just kind of lazily inserting his ideas into a horror framework. So he loves to rant and he loves to express frustration at the state of things. And so he's basically just providing a series of rants about things that he's grouchy about in the world, and then throwing a slasher villain in to like kill the people responsible for those things in most cases. And that's just kind of what he's doing. He doesn't seem well read in horror at all. And I'm not either, also, but like I can see.
You're not making horror movies, though.
Of course,
you don't insist on making horror movies because that's like the last three things he's made.
Yes,
it seems so bizarre to compare yourself to Stephen King and George A. Romero. Like those are like masters of their craft, and you're like, I got this. Don't worry. I know I made a couple like indie dick joke movies, but I can do what they do. No problem.
Yeah, I mean, it shows like a low opinion of the genre and like a disdain for the fans to be like, yeah, the horror fans just like any sort of slop. They're going to fucking love this.
It's fascinating that we have really talked about the transition from comedy to horror a lot recently with like Jordan Peele doing the sketch show to, Get Out, Us, Nope. You also have Zach Kreger, who was Whitest Kids You Know into Barbarian and Weapons. Yep. But Smith is not that great of a visionary, apparently. Like, he just doesn't know how to translate to another genre.
Well,
which is crazy because, comedy and horror have, it's all about timing.
Exactly.
And he doesn't have that in him.
It's about tension. There's tension to both. And the people who have been successful in comedy who have pivoted into horror have experience creating that tension in a comedic way. And Peele is somebody whose films, all three of them, basically are every set piece that is a horror set piece, pointedly, also feels like a comedy set piece. Like it could totally work in both ways. It's funny because it's also true for someone like Ari Aster or Robert Eggers, who did not have experience in comedy but were similarly like, horror, I guess I'll do that because it's kind of a way into a thing. But they somehow have the sense for tension that comes with either or. It can kind of always be either or. And Kevin's comedy isn't about that. It isn't about a kind of setup payoff or a sort of suspense towards a punchline. It's just verbal jousting.
Observational?
And observational.
Yeah.
And it's very, very, very rarely visual comedy. Very rarely visual comedy, you know? And when it is, it's usually pretty sloppy.
Right. And again, the horror comedy, Widow's Bay has just been like sweeping. Like everybody loves it. And it really has that like great fine line between like, I'm terrified, I'm laughing my ass off. And this does not have any of that. I'm not scared at any point. I'm barely laughing if it isn't the little girl saying the housing market collapse.
Very few laughs in this. And there are many attempts at them.
Yeah,
many.
It feels
Many
like
attempts.
a half-baked script that was come up with on a podcast with just some kills thrown in at the end.
We talked about him going to rehab. Is he still smoking pot? I know you like
He is
lessened.
not.
He
No.
is.
Oh, he's back on the pot.
I'm here. I'm afraid to say yes. So in this very extensive video that he made for People magazine, where he talks about his trauma and going to rehab and his, quote unquote addiction to marijuana, smoking marijuana. He says he quits. He did quit for like a year or like a year and a half, and then was like, should I just do it again? And his wife was like, I don't see why not. And so he just got back into it. And I didn't discover that until I went to this show, this Clerks 2 show. And he was just like, before every, whenever Kevin presents at a film at the Smod Castle, they like do auctions. They auction off like props and stuff to like help fund the theater. And he was like, one of the things you can auction that we're going to auction off is going up to my apartment above this theater and smoking some weed with me. And somebody spent like $2,000 fucking dollars.
Jesus Christ.
And apparently Ernie O'Donnell was like, at one point, somebody spent like $1,500 to go take a shit in Kevin's apartment. It is the Kevin Smith fandom is wild stuff, folks.
Jesus.
But yes, that was when I learned that he was back on the wagon. And seemingly is fine, but I mean, who can say? But yes, this film was initially met as the first film in Kevin Smith's post-marijuana career. And it's...
I know for a while it was like, well, I'm only going to smoke when I'm being productive. So either I'm writing a script or I'm recording an episode of Smodcast or like I'm doing something. Like I need the weed to make me productive.
Curious,
so I can understand that being like tied into creativeness and like the rehab of like, well, what do I do now? I guess a horror movie anthology.
Yeah, well, he's like, I only want to smoke weed when I'm productive, so I'll only do it when I'm recording podcasts. Coincidentally, I'm going to create more and more and more and more and more podcasts to record. I'm basically just always going to be recording podcasts for the rest of my life.
Yep.
It's a coincidence, though, you know?
Yeah, and there's definitely like a strong correlation behind between him starting to smoke weed, which if anyone here is not like a Kevin Smith fan, yes, he made stoner comedies, but didn't start actually smoking weed till he was like in his mid to late 30s. But there's
was it after Jersey Girl or Cop Out? It was like one of the failed movies, right?
Like that.
So he was introduced to weed by Seth Rogen when they were making Zach and Miri make a porno. Seth Rogen was like,
"That's true.
You don't smoke weed," and he like got him into it. And they smoked a lot while they were making the film. And he was like, "This is fucking awesome, man." And Rogen was like, "I know, right?" And and by sheer coincidence, he was super depressed when Zach and Miri didn't do well and never left his house for like 2 years. You know?
Yeah, but there is a very like. The moment he starts smoking weed is also the moment he stops making good movies. So
it's truly like before and after. It's really wild.
So maybe don't do that, Mr. Smith.
But then we wouldn't get yoga hosers, which is such an interesting artifact.
I can't wait till we give our final thoughts on this. I just can't wait.
I'm going to do some weed just to make sure that everybody is okay with it.
So Murph, this is an audio medium and this is not fair to the listener, but Murph just like lugged up this enormous artifact that it's like this orb that you have to press down this. It's like I think it's a Mountain Dew bottle. It's like a Mountain Dew Code Red bottle, actually. It's to like shove it down to get the air to come up. It's
Gravity bong baby.
Like a very sophisticated one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I appreciate physics so much. You have no idea.
Space age gravity bong. Anyway.
Yeah.
This is like something that would happen on a Smodcast.
Yeah. Murph's one hit away from writing a horror script and wrangling college kids into making it for him.
Making $1 million on the blockchain.
It's going to be beautiful, man.
Back in the wraparound story, Harley Quinn checks her phone and sees that her boyfriend is with another girl because it's like one of those Find My Phone apps or whatever. Presumably that's Janine Denning's house. And Harley Quinn begins the next story in the anthology, which does not have a title. So,
I had one, Miss Bowers.
Yeah, it says Miss Bowers.
Okay, yeah.
It starts and then it introduces the title.
I was skipping around the second time when I was taking plot notes, so I missed that.
Just the second time. He wasn't skipping around the first time.
No, I sat here and it's only
pretty...
102 minutes and...
No. You
take off the credits.
62 minutes.
This film is an hour long.
An hour and 2 minutes is what I meant to say.
Yes.
And even at times it tests your patience being that short. I don't know how long it is when you cut off the credits. Probably like 58. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a trial. So this one is about a teacher, Miss Bowers, who is doing some sort of after-hours elementary school play rehearsal with only 2 children.
Pretty odd vibes going on here.
They're producing Oklahoma.
Where the wind comes sweeping down the plains.
Mm-hmm.
Cassie and Montana are the 2 children. They're freaked out about KillRoy. They run off. Miss Bowers wanders through the school looking for them. She runs into the school janitor named Chet, who of course is played by Jason Mewes.
And Jason Mewes as Chet the janitor is his credit.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good.
Not a lot happens for like 5 minutes. And then eventually Miss Bowers hears the children screaming in a classroom. But it was all a fake out. Chet, Montana, and Cassie were all playing a prank on Miss Bowers. And Jason Mewes says something like, always bet on the Chet. And I was just like, I've only seen Zach and Miri once, but I feel like it was some weird callback to that character was like Lester the Molester and like him trying to have some dumbass catchphrase. It was just kind of annoying.
Could be. Jason Mewes historically not particularly good when he's not playing the character Jay, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
That's that's my take. I don't know that he has a lot of range beyond that character.
Because that's just him.
Yes, he's basically playing himself. Yes, that's true.
This is very true. We skipped over that, they're talking about KillRoy to the teacher because she's not from Florida. She's from South Boston in the 90s. And the monsters that she's used to are Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. Now, what powers does the monster Marky Mark have besides racism?
He could stop 9/11.
He can. That's exactly
he could have.
It.
Yeah,
that's
if he'd been on the plane.
He has the ability to stop 9/11 from happening. Doesn't mean he has to do it, but he has the capability. This is a really weird, and it's a long walk to all these different jokes they're doing about Marky Mark with like, does he appear in your bedroom like KillRoy? And she's like, I wish. It's like, wait. I thought he was a monster. What is going on? It's so weird.
It seems completely reverse engineered from the like, oh, I wish the Marky Mark monster would eat me joke that they have, right?
And interesting fact, Robert Kurtzman, who designed the KillRoy mask for this movie, also made Mark Wahlberg's prosthetic dick in Boogie Nights.
Oh yeah. I do remember hearing Kevin say that. Yes.
That's nice, yeah.
We
also have the female student saying the school used to have hamsters of like why she was suspended. That was kind of funny.
Yeah.
But then when we do meet Jason Mewes, he says, I'm a middle-aged man who eats like shit and huffs floor cleaner all day. As to why he would be so weird as he is.
I thought you were going to mention his sort of the keystone joke of this segment for me, which is he says something like, you don't understand kids these days. They're nasty. The bathrooms in this school, you wouldn't believe, the boys and the girls. And the teacher's like, that's sexist. And he replies, lady, I don't find anything sexy about kids.
I did not understand this at all.
It's a lot. I don't understand I don't know. I really don't know what to say.
Miscommunication. That's utterly what's funny about it.
It's utterly
He's too
bizarre.
dumb to understand what sexist really means.
He is dumb. That is the idea. I really don't know what else to say. But it's quite a joke. It's quite a long, again, on the very, very long walk to a bizarre
exactly. A very long walk to the point where there was a student missing every semester or so until they realized, we just need to do a blood for blood sacrifice and offer someone up to KillRoy. And that is the Miss Bowers character, who then dies with Jason Mewes locked on the other side of the fence and the two kids in the back of the SUV hatchback, whatever. And the one kid does the neck crossing, oh, you're dead. And the other one's just like, bye-bye.
Yeah. And then KillRoy kills her.
The end. And again, how is he a savior to children if he was killing children every semester and they have to make a pact with him not to kill them? Doesn't make any fucking sense.
And there's some joke about how the little boy is a Republican and the little girl is a Democrat.
Dad. He
says everyone in here
yet,
is Republican.
Rob, please.
Well, yeah, I guess they're not registered. Sorry.
He's a Trump voter if I've ever seen one.
But he does say everyone here is a Republican, and the teacher's like,
it's
not
Florida.
Everybody. And it's like, what are you doing, Kevin? What the fuck is this?
There's great people on both sides in Florida, is what he's saying.
That's very true. But yeah, this one is incoherent in terms of its theme.
And very long. It seems like.
It
might only be 3 minutes long.
There's no event. I mean, it's truly nothing. Yeah.
I do kind of like the moment where the two kids are chanting something and the teacher's kind of freaked out to be like, okay, you guys stop this. Okay. This is not cool anymore. I'm going to go tell the janitor I found you. You guys practice the music that you should be already knowing.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Okay. There's also a lot of screaming, just the kids screaming because it's funny. I don't know. It's annoying.
No, he's not screaming. He's yelling.
He's yelling because he's a boy.
Difference.
Boys don't scream. Girls scream. Boys yell. Yeah. That's where the Republican Democrat conversation comes into. Who fucking cares? This is really if you were watching this segment in isolation, I truly feel like you might think you were having a stroke. If you were
right.
Did you know that this 15-minute sequence was directed by the filmmaker who's responsible for Clerks and Chasing Amy?
The coastal elite who directed Clerks? Yeah.
The coastal elite who directed Jane
Jersey
Strike
Girl.
Back and Jersey Girl, yeah.
We get a very brief part of the wraparound segment before moving into the next part of the anthology. Father Pat, played by Ralph Garman, picks up two orphaned children, Alessio and Ernesto, to take them on a camping trip. The kids are Cuban refugees who do not speak English.
Their parents are in apparently a concentration camp, ready to be sent back to Cuba, and they're going to take them on a camping trip for one last experience of America before they get sent back to their home country. And they want to make sure that they appreciate the American experience above all else.
Yes, and Father Pat loads them up into his van and immediately begins drinking, smoking weed, and making a bunch of sexual, pedophile / Catholic priest mashup jokes that I really didn't find to be funny at all. And it goes back to what we were talking about with his Krampus and Hitler. I feel like Kevin Smith thinks this is a lot edgier than it actually is. It's just very unfunny. Not because I'm totally offended. I'm just this is not funny. It's how I felt. It's
not funny. It's a really grim bit of business. And it's funny because Ralph Garman, whose career is really only, it's only what it is because of his relationship with Seth MacFarlane and Kevin Smith. There's these kind of twinned tracks that he's been on. He's done voices for all of Seth MacFarlane's shows. He's been in his movies. He, I think, still works with him. And then he's been doing Hollywood Babylon, the podcast with Kevin, and has been in all of his horror movies. He was in Red State. That was his first film collaboration with Kevin, where he plays a villain in that. He played a villain in Yoga Hosers, and he plays a villain here. And I think, and he's in some of the others in smaller roles, but every time he's in a horror film by Kevin Smith, he plays like an outlandishly, satanically evil individual and relishes it. He's clearly like, I love going over the top and being a really disgusting piece of shit in Kevin's movies. And so he appears on screen the moment he appears on screen here. If you've seen any of the other films that he's been in from Kevin, you know, oh, he is a Catholic priest who molests children. You know, like it's just kind of a given. And so there's this.
He's got
just
that vibe.
Like, there's just this. And well, I mean, they make it obvious right away, as Chris said. And
I mean, Ralph Garman in general.
Yeah. I cannot speak on Ralph Garman's personal life. And
he did date a porn star. I remember that from the Hollywood Babylon.
Okay.
I cannot remember who it was, but there was like some in the 80s he dated a porn star.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Garman has probably lived a very large life, you know, and that's why he's so good at talking, just like Kevin, I guess. But I was never into that podcast, I must admit. I never really got into Ralph Garman's collaborations with Kevin. But it is this, similarly to the first segment, this kind of frustratingly dull, inevitable, grim thing. Where you're sort of like, well, we kind of know what's going on in these shorts at this point. KillRoy comes and kills people that we don't like, or he comes and kills the central subject of the segment.
Yeah,
and I don't suspect he's going to kill the little Cuban boys who might get molested by a priest. So probably we're about to see some, you know, priests get slashed by KillRoy. And indeed, it just continues escalating how edgy it is because he's got these two boys. He takes them to a motel. The motel is already inhabited by a couple other priests who have all of these very cherubic, sad-faced little Cuban boys themselves going up to their motel rooms. It's really grim. And you know that Kevin's just like, I know you guys are just like waiting on with bated breath to see KillRoy fuck these guys up. And this is where Ernie O'Donnell as the priest returns as one of these priests who comes to this motel to molest children. And yeah, it happens. He's like on the cusp of, he's going to do it, but then the priests all go for like one little before they have their fun. They're going to like do a little drinking and hang out outside the motel room.
Well, they got coke from Miami. So there's that.
Yeah, they got coke from Miami. Yeah.
We skipped over. They go to the convenience store and they meet the Latino clerk who is saying, well, like, I remember when I got here and there were camping trips with priests. But also in this convenience store on the comic book wrap is like some fucking weird porno magazines there. But there is also a Jay and Silent Bob comic book. So that's connected to the View Askew universe. But then also in the background, there is the fundraiser poster for the Sunny segment of this movie. So it is all making it like a giant, you know, universe of an MCU of KillRoy. Yeah.
The View Askew-Soda-verse, perhaps. What did he used to call? Oh, it was just the Red Bank trilogy. It wasn't anything fancy. This is the Sarasota Quartet. This film. I also just have to say, because, and this will, I pray will be the last time I talk about this People magazine video where Kevin Smith talks about his trauma. But in this video, he talks about, in the video is like, this is the first time I've ever talked about this publicly. He talks about, you know, instances in his childhood where he was sexually abused that he never spoke about, but that were very impactful to him. And he never talked about it to anybody. And he kind of finally broke through when he went to rehab to kind of understand what role that played in his life. And that...
by Catholic priests?
No, I don't believe so. So.
No, it was by like an older, like a teenager when Kevin Smith was like a 6-year-old.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So it's a little intense. And again, just very grim to think about him making this film in the late 2010s, like writing in the early 2010s, making it in the late 2010s, and then releasing it after that, like after he has come to that realization, but making it before and releasing it after, it's very strange. It kind of gives it this very off-kilter vibe to me. Because I had seen this People magazine video before watching the film. And it's just like, I just don't think he has the capacity for this. He just does not have the capacity to make this scary, suspenseful, edgy, and like a reactionary way. Like he just doesn't have the ability to make this anything except just kind of depressing and boring, you know?
Well, does he have the ability of nuance? That's certainly what I'm not sure about.
I don't think so.
You're right.
No.
Because they get into the whole idea about like, Ralph Garman's like, well, if God didn't want me to, he would stop me. And he's never stopped me all the times I've done it. Like, I'm an American, we're in America, that's what the kids say about, like, we need an American God.
Yeah.
You know, we need like a Clint Eastwood type.
Yeah.
So there's things I like about this and dislike. What I do like is that the way they find out who KillRoy is that it is carved into the counter at the convenience store, which I appreciated because I believe this is the only one that incorporates the fact that this originated from graffiti.
Yes.
So I like that. But then the clerk at the store is like, he speaks Spanish as well. So he points down to it and he tells them in Spanish, KillRoy, say it 3 times. He helps children. But they do not subtitle the line where it says he helps children. So if you don't speak Spanish, all you're seeing is this guy point and say, KillRoy, say it 3 times. So these children have no context for what KillRoy is without that added subtitle. So if you're just watching it as a speaker of English, they just somehow decide that this is an American God. It's like I shouldn't be picking apart the minutia of the plot of a segment in this movie, but I was just like, that's fucking stupid.
It speaks to the laziness. There's a moment we'll talk about in the final segment that I was like, I cannot believe this was permitted to make it into a final cut of this film. There are just some things that are like, this is so amateurish that it is outrageous. So, yeah, which I think that's fair enough.
Comes to, I think the biggest criticism of Kevin Smith is I don't think he has grown as a filmmaker or storyteller. I think he's pretty much like Arrested Development. It is the same person who created Clerks is who we have today.
I would say he's probably just gotten worse since Clerks. It's been a long time since I've seen it, but I do remember like actual like shots being composed to where it's not all just reverse shot of people talking.
But is that him? Is that Scott Mosier? Is that Dave Klein? Like, I feel like he had a good corral of regulars that knew how to interpret his vision into a cinematic language. And when you're in a convenience store, when there's nothing else to do, like, it's very easy to make that like, oh, we're just going to do one shot of 2 people behind a counter. Right here, I don't know if there's enough like inventiveness or like even ideas for it to be interesting. Like, I do kind of like that the pop tents are on both of the beds. Like, that's a good visual. There is Ralph Garman going to the drawer and pulling out altar boy uniforms for them to put on. And I'm like, okay, I kind of like this idea of you're a fake priest who wants to fuck an altar boy. But then he even has the line of, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Which
Kevin was like, loving when he wrote that bad boy.
He was like, oh, this is fucking great, man. But it's like nails on a chalkboard in 2026.
Yeah. It's bad.
So, I mean, KillRoy comes and kills people.
He kills the priests. He kills all of them, and the boys escape. And you're like, great, their lives are going to be terrific from now on.
Yeah,
right. Until they get picked up by, the administration that is currently in office. I do kind of like the gore effect of the guy whose head gets like chopped diagonally. I thought that was actually pretty decent of an practical effect.
I don't like any of the gore effects in any of this. I hated it.
I don't think I do either. I didn't hate them, I don't think, but there was never a kill where aside, so the priest kills are at least there is a visual idea. He is truly like, he's cutting them all like in half. And the guy whose head he cuts off, I mean, it's like, I don't know. You guys on Weekly Podcast Massacre, we're just talking about 13 Ghosts. I mean, and like as an extension, things like Ghost Ship, where people, and Resident Evil, where there was a lot of that happening in the early 2000s, people getting like cut up and their like pieces kind of sliding off each other. I think like we've really never gotten any better at that. And this is definitely not like particularly interesting in that regard. But it is at least an idea. I will give it that.
I think it looks good, and just the fact of I'm going to do this and show it, and I just like I love the way of a cross section of a brain. I just thought it was so well done. Is it the best effect of all time? Absolutely not. Like, is it passable for a movie less than $1 million? Abso-fucking-lutely.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I'm wary of throwing him a bone for a lot of the effects on a low budget when I think about how common it is these days for people to just make totally amateur independent horror films because they're just into doing makeup effects and they just like make this happen. Probably things like way, way, way more interesting and creative than this. And yeah, like you made a slasher movie, it better be at least okay looking. You know what I mean? Like this, when you get to the bloodletting, that's where you need to put the work in more than anywhere else. And this is like the only instance where it feels like that's happening, and it's okay. It's like fine. It's totally fine. I do love to see a cross section. I totally hear you. I think that is cool, but it's
I'm trying to find something to appreciate about this movie.
I hear you. I was there. Yeah,
this
I was definitely
is
there.
a 3-second section of the movie where I'm like, I didn't hate it.
You're like, oh wow, I can't believe you did it. That's
definitely
okay.
Felt the same, like was drawing the same parallels that you were talking about, Rob. All the gore felt very early 2000s, like someone gets cut with a laser, CGI, and a part of their head slowly slides off. And none of that's endearing to me because I fucking hate that period of horror movies.
Like, that's also very fair.
13 Ghosts fucking sucks.
How dare you?
It's tough.
Tony Shalhoub is an American treasure, okay?
I said this to Murph in private. I'm so glad that he did not do the thing that everyone is doing and heralding 13 and then Ghosts as like, oh, it's good actually, because it's not. It's fucking terrible.
It's not. No, it's not. But
there are things to appreciate
about the craftsmanship of the movie.
Are reclaiming everything from the early 2000s. Like Queen of the Damned is now somehow this forgotten masterpiece.
Yeah, like I loved 13 Ghosts when I was 11, and that's it. You know, like I think it's fair enough for an 11-year-old with no awareness of any of this shit to be like, wow, this is cool. There's so many different kinds of ghosts, you know.
Shannon Elizabeth is the greatest actress of all time.
Nah, raw digga. So we go directly into the next segment in which professional wrestler Chris Jericho plays a YouTuber named The Gator Chaser. And this, we really could have used Brian's pro wrestling expertise because I know very little about him other than he seems like a complete fucking asshole.
Yeah, I have to admit, as soon as he appeared, I will read exactly what I wrote to Brian. Let me see if I could find it really quickly. It was really, really pretty straightforward. I said, oh God, where is it? Jesus, I was talking to Brian a long time. Fuck. I really thought it was way more recent.
Well, you find it. Apparently he's in. Okay, you go.
Well, and it's so stupid that it took this long for me to find it. I said, and this was after we hadn't spoken for several hours. I said, is Chris Jericho woke? End of no question mark. I just said, is Chris Jericho woke? And Brian responds, he is not.
Yeah.
His wife is like mega crazy. Like she's like a freak, I think, is from what the sense I was getting from him. He said he kind of has old wrestler lifer brain, which tends not to be the most progressive. And he said his politics are probably closer to incoherent than bigoted. I was curious because I know that he plays a Klansman in Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. So he's worked with Smith a couple times in very pointedly like Garmin-esque,
right,
roles.
I was going to bring that up because I was looking at his filmography. He's in Terrifier 2 and 3, which I have seen. MacGruber, Sharknado 3. He's in the David Arquette You Cannot Kill David Arquette as self-archival footage. I feel like there's some Shudder movie that I have seen him in, though, and I'm not seeing it currently on
Would it be
Letterboxd.
Dark Match, a movie that seems to have something to do with wrestling from 2024?
Maybe. I feel like I saw him on something else. Maybe it was just Joe Bob, as he was like, I think that's what it was. He was just a guest on like Blood-Sucking Freaks, and he was like, I love this movie, it's great. But I don't know. He has a look to him, which I completely understand, being a wrestler and being very physically oriented, but he is pretty horrendous, I think, in this role.
Oh, yeah. I thought he was pretty good.
Okay, let's talk about the premise of this really quick. So he's a YouTuber. His name is the Gator Chaser. And for like the first 2 minutes, he's just talking to the camera about how he's going to catch these gators. And what we find out a gator is I guess a gay man who is on the down low, who doesn't want to be outed.
Yes.
Right.
Closeted gay men.
And so I looked
Why is there not a Y in his name? I'm just asking questions here.
That's the thing, is that I looked this up. This is not any sort of slang that exists, so you have no idea what the fuck he is talking about.
It's entirely for the quote unquote twist. It's like you think he's like a live streamer in Florida who is actively chasing alligators because he's a big, goofy, idiot Florida guy. Chasing gators.
Now I get it.
And then you're like, oh, wait, he's getting into a car with some guy and they're like, he's coming onto him or something. And then he starts calling the guy a gator. And you're like, I don't think anyone has ever used the phrase gator like this before, but I guess I see what you're saying.
He's like, oh, I told them I was barely legal, and you get in the car and it's like a 40-year-old man.
You're 54, dude. No one's going to believe that you are just turned 18. And the guy doesn't say anything about it. But
Nope. Well, we find out later why.
Yeah.
But also, the ingenious part of this segment are the comments on the side of the video. And we're constantly getting bombarded with, go cry on CNN.
I have to admit,
or someone calling another person a commie homo.
I didn't pay a lot of attention to those. I
fucking hated this shit.
I did clock like when there's a pivot and the comments are antagonistic towards the gator chaser. I did track that, but I didn't otherwise pay much attention.
On him. Yeah,
they do.
Well,
they
that's
do.
also when the viewership drops from like 500 to 183.
Yeah.
And then everyone's like, good. I hope you fucking burn in hell.
Yeah. It's so it's so hard to defend this.
Why would you try?
I know. What I find interesting about this segment is that it's the only one that's trying it's doing there's a formal gambit, because it is showing it's found footage. It's showing you the live stream of the gator chase. And one, it betrays that because it eventually abandons it and cuts between them. So I can't give it credit for doing it the whole way through, which I really wish it did. And the second thing I found interesting about it was just I don't know, like it really just being, you just have to watch this guy for like almost 10 straight minutes be this completely aggravating, obnoxious, homophobic asshole. And it's just so much more. It just feels like it's a totally different kind of like prickliness than the other things in the film that are trying to be offensive or like trying to prod. You know what I mean?
It feels more MAGA than anything else that's happened. Even when they're talking about like the Miss Bowers like Republican dad boy. Like this is really like, oh, we're gonna like try to focus in on the dumbassness of the conservative, people of this country.
It's the only thing Kevin Smith has ever made that I'm like, this is so close to something Conor O'Malley would make. It's just like, it's so fast. I mean, you think that, and then you're like, well, it's an utter failure. You know what I mean? Like, it has none of the nuance or aesthetic interest or good, stellar performing of a Conor O'Malley short that would be doing something like this. But it's like, because it's operating in that milieu, it's like speaking to me more than the other segments in the film. So I think that's kind of where I was able to find an in. But I hate where it goes. I think it's really, really, the final stretch of it is really, really bad.
Yeah.
And not just because it abandons the live stream conceit, but also because it just doesn't make any sense with the trajectory of the rest of the segments. It just does not make any sense.
No, it doesn't.
It's completely its own thing, and it's incoherent. It's really
again, it goes back to the morality tale of an anthology, is that typically it's trying to insinuate like, well, those people that like don't uphold the social contract that we all have are eventually punished for some reason or another.
Yeah.
And what we get is there is a person who is a bad person, Chris Jericho, who is doused with chicken water and then is eaten by a gator.
Just a little editor's note. After we recorded this episode, Rob sent me a message and he said, if I could go back, the single solitary thing I'd do differently is make sure to say how funny I think it is every time she says chicken water. Back to the show. A CGI gator who never actually shares the screen with Chris Jericho. They never actually interact.
But then we find out that the reason that this is happening is because he gator trapped another person who then killed themselves, and we are like he is face to face with the wife of this person who was sanctioning what was happening, that was swiping for him and saw, oh, there's a kid that I think he'll do well with. I'm going to set them up so he can at least experience the thing that I cannot provide him. So there is some sort of like moral segment of this, of someone who is more accepting of someone who has these urges, I think, as she calls them, and allows her husband to do this. He eventually kills himself, and she wants revenge, understandably at this point. But then she is then captured by KillRoy. So there is no moral, like, it's so ambiguous to like what is actually
no sense
good.
Why KillRoy would kill her
or bad.
It's so pointless.
We even have like a little girl that Chris Jericho sees, and he's like, this is weird. Let me point the camera to me and then point it back to where she was, and she's not there anymore.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That is, what's kind of frustrating about, there's so many things that are frustrating. So
let me pull out my list. Okay, here we go.
The thing with the wife being like, the thing about you gator chasing my husband is that I was okay with him doing this. And it's almost like, more as a morality tale, as you're describing, Murph, like that does make more sense. It makes sense to be like, okay, but let's remember, this guy's the asshole because this guy was totally fine. His wife was fine with it. But the implication is like, we are in Sarasota, Florida, where we've learned that everybody is a Republican, or everyone's a Republican. So you're like, I mean, you can't necessarily vilify a man who's closeted in Sarasota, Florida, as it's being presented to us. Right. Like, it's not ideal. It's not morally right or whatever. But the fact that it's like,
to move on to punish the wife who is accepting of her husband's urges.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. It's just, it's like a twist for the sake of being like, this is the nasty final, nail in the coffin of this anthology film.
Safe from KillRoy.
It totally makes sense as something that Kevin Smith is like, oh yeah, this is something that'll be a twist for them.
Yeah, they'll scream. The audience will be like, what? That's not what I thought. I thought he was going to kill Chris Jericho. Yeah.
Well,
stupid.
Let me tell you the real reason that this segment really sucks.
Ooh.
So this is a YouTube video and there's a chat, a play button, settings. It's as if we are watching a YouTube video, but there's a constant glitch effect on this. And the glitch effect goes across the fake YouTube user interface as if to suggest that the glitch is happening on whatever screen you are watching it from and not from the camera with which Chris Jericho is shooting this. Mm-hmm. And that pisses me off so much. It's something, it oftentimes will come from younger filmmakers who are playing around with, the idea of a technology that they never grew up with. Like they're doing a found footage that was shot on VHS and you can see the camera reticle, which is not visible when you record. It's only visible as you're looking through the viewfinder on the camcorder. Right. So there's a lot of things like that. Kevin Smith is like almost 60. He should know better. Like it's just these are the things that really bother me in films. It's just a complete inattention to any sort of verisimilitude to sell your found footage horror. It's just, It's so annoying.
I'm going to double down on this and add that there's a moment where the wife, who has tied Chris Jericho up and has just set his camera down, like his phone, to just record him straight on. It's like a medium shot of him tied to a tree. And then she watches the live stream on her phone. She wants to watch.
But Kevin Smith doesn't know it's a medium shot. That's what we need to make sure.
He doesn't even know it's medium.
No.
So she is watching it on her phone. And as she's watching it on her phone, we see it at a completely different angle, still looking as if it is like phone footage. But then we cut to non-phone, like whatever, like just regular like film footage, the film's usual aesthetic of him tied to the tree, like screaming because the alligator's coming. And then we cut to the phone again, showing that image, like the basic film image, not the phone image. And there's so many cuts back and forth that are clearly not keeping track of what's supposed to be from the phone on the live stream and what's not, that they clearly just like edited it and we're like, oh wait, we have to put the phone overlay over this shot, right? And it's like, oh yeah, wait, no, that's not the phone image. It's insane that they allowed this to happen.
Yes,
it's so
I think what you said earlier is that it's such lazy filmmaking for so much of this. It's like he doesn't even, I mean, I guess I get it. It's a student film. He doesn't really care to use the full toolbox that he has, like, for 20 years that he has been able to make movies, over 20 years. It's just so disappointing of like, you're not learning, you're not growing, you're basically just coasting along on your artistic abilities. And it's so frustrating when it's like, I want you to be better. I want to love everything you do because I loved you early on when I was a child and experiencing your idea of young adulthood. And like, this is about like the bullshit jobs that you have to do, but it's more about like the friends that you are able to make and the relationships around that. And it's just, you're losing the thread, man. I don't know what else to say, but like, God damn it, like, wake the fuck up. Grow as an artist.
Yeah, I have to admit, I think I've bypassed this emotional like frustration. It's more just kind of like a bemusement, like a kind of lazy eyes glazed over bemusement.
But you've continued with him for most of it, right? Like I've kind of checked in and out for a lot of it.
I did it. I mean, the 2010s, I really, like I said, I didn't see Tusk or anything after it until pretty recently. And I think that I earnestly believe that Jay and Silent Bob Reboot and Clerks 3 are good, worthwhile, interesting movies that are flawed because he hasn't grown as a filmmaker. But you're completely right that he just has not grown. There is just a degree to which he's not bringing the ways that he has matured to the work itself. And it's like, it's wild because, comparing again to Tarantino, like Tarantino was making movies about how he was feeling angst about being old. in the late 90s. Like Jackie Brown is like, man, it's just crazy to be like aging, you know? And that was 1997 or something. And Smith he's making movies about that, but he just can't escape the milieu of youth. It's always in the milieu of youth. Honestly, ultimately for me with this, it's like, if he's working with students, he should help them learn about continuity. Like they should not have been like, yes, it makes sense as a student film, so it's sloppy, but like it's an opportunity for him to be like, oh, we'll see the overlay that you put on the video thing here is like actually not supposed to be on that footage. It's supposed to be only on the footage coming from the phone. That just seems very basic to me.
Yes.
That makes so much sense of that. It should be every single segment is directed by another kid. And he is the one, like a Poltergeist or an Arachnophobia, the first Thrillomedy, of the invisible hand of Kevin Smith showing this new generation how to actually make a movie. And it seems like he's the one like, no, let me take it. I got this. And you can hold the camera. You can be the one doing the assistant director role. You can do all this, but I'm still the director of everything. I'm the one writing. I'm the one shot composition, whatever.
Yeah.
Is it a medium shot? I don't know, because I don't know what that is.
The students probably knew better what shot composition was appropriate for a given moment. Yeah.
They're like, like Network. And he's like, I don't know what movie you're talking about.
Does it have a superhero in it? Nope. Haven't seen it then.
Does it have a giant spider enemy in the third act? No, I don't know about it.
So that segment ends and we get the ending of the wraparound story, which is basically like Harley Quinn knows her boyfriend's cheating on her. She calls KillRoy and tricks the little girl into thinking that the boyfriend is KillRoy. So the little girl kills the boyfriend. Because at the beginning, Harley Quinn was like, if you cheat on me, I'll fucking kill you. And this is her way of doing that. But then KillRoy shows up at the end and kills Harley Quinn and walks off hand in hand with the little girl at the end.
That's what we call a 360 on this podcast. I don't actually think the depth of the machete going into Harley Quinn is deep enough to actually kill her. But okay, whatever. It's a movie. We'll move on.
That's for the sequel. Harley Was Here. This is her origin story.
It's there's whether it's intentional or not, I can't say, but the final shot is quite a long shot of KillRoy walking away with the little girl into the shadows with an American flag always on the right side of the frame. And you're like, so are you saying that all your stories here are like about the perils of children in this divided nation? Or is this an accident? Who can say? Or both, kind of, I don't know.
Are you proud to be an American where at least you're free?
Perhaps. He did make one of those 9/11 short films about how good New York is.
Yeah. What are they called? I do know what you mean, because I believe Woody Allen also made one.
I'm sure he did. I'm sure he did.
For it's the Concert for New York City.
I think that's right.
Wow.
There is there's kind of like, so on Box Office Gross, I'm often accused by my co-host of
shameless plug,
really meeting a movie closer than it deserves, right? Like really just kind of extending my heart out to a film. This happened with Failure to Launch this year, most
Reclaimer
notably.
of Slop, I believe is the title.
But certainly so, but it is really like, wow, you really are generous to the core heart of a movie might be, even if it is not visible to like 90% of people watching it. And just to give an example of how that happens is like watching this and watching that final shot. But even in, once I got this sense that these were segments about children in peril and how KillRoy was kind of like sort of incoherently helping them. I thought about the absolute masterpiece, one of the best films ever made, Night of the Hunter, and the Charles Lawton film, and the great line near the end of that film where a character says, the world is I can't remember exactly what it is. The world is a scary place for little things, or it's a hard place for little things, or something like that. Just everyone should watch Night of the Hunter, one of the greatest films ever
Paraphrased in Raising Arizona.
Very true. Another of the greatest films ever made. And I think that that germ in my brain that can connect to a movie, even if it doesn't deserve it, activated when I thought of that line. I was like, is KillRoy Is Here kind of doing the world is a hard place for little things right now? And then I was like, switch that off. That's not happening with KillRoy Is Here. We're not reclaiming KillRoy Is Here with comparisons to Night of the Hunter. But that is kind of the trajectory my mind tends to take. And I have the choice to make the leap or to not. And so I am capable, for those who listen to my show, of saying no.
I'll just say, if you want to see the like horror special effects version of It's a Hard World for Little Things, just watch Larry Cohen's It's Alive trilogy. Do not bother with KillRoy Was Here.
Sounds good.
Yes. So, thoughts, gentlemen, on KillRoy Was Here?
Bad. Real bad.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a lot worse than it was, but it's not good.
I truly did too.
Because like it really feels like, yeah, you're hiding this for a reason. As much as I would see Letterboxd reviews saying like, wow, Kevin really didn't want people to see this because of how bad it is. It's like, I don't know, have you seen the movies that he's released, like permitted to be released in the theaters? I think it's okay. I don't think he's hiding anything.
Yeah.
But
was Yoga Hosers in theaters?
Yeah, he toured it. He did a road show.
Oh, okay. Much like his Red State distribution. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that involved a whole fake auction.
Yes, that's true. It was, oh God, that was tough. That was like, that is for indie cinema what LeBron James, the choice thing was. Or whatever, the decision, not the choice. God, I don't know anything about sports. I shouldn't even mention it. But yeah, like, it's just, it could have been so much worse for what it is, but it's just like, it's bad. I mean, it's just like an amateur hour lark by a director who just doesn't have it anymore, you know? But it's you know, I think it's if you really like Kevin Smith, or if you like me, or like just really invested in Kevin Smith, it's a curio worth checking out. But otherwise, no, not at all.
No.
I'm really trying to think of another director that has like dipped into this type of bad filmmaking compared to the highs that they've had, because I think I would consider Clerks a 5-star. It's been a minute since I've seen it, but like everything about that was just very uniform for the time. And is exactly what we expected of the Gen X coming into their adulthood. Of we have been living with this pop culture for so long, and that's everything we know. And we're working these menial jobs because we can't get anything further. And as well as we are the lower rung of American capitalism. It is the base level mom and pop convenience store worker, not even an owner, just a worker, as well as the person who works next door at the video store. But I can't think of any other director who has dipped like this low. Like we talked about Soderbergh earlier, and his career is all over the place, from like highs of Ocean's 11 to the lows of like Girlfriend Experience and things that like people don't even know about or discuss. But man, can you think of anybody who was like, oh yeah, I know that Clerks movie, who was in like, what is KillRoy Was Here? Like who did what is an NFT? Like it's such a bizarre whiplash of like from first movie to, I mean, this isn't his last movie, but like a fucking recent movie that is just forgotten, not even discussed by a majority of filmmakers.
Make the comparison of, this is probably what John Carpenter's career would look like if he had a legion of sycophantic fans willing to fund all of his things, because he comes out with his early films like Halloween, Assault on Precinct 13.
Sure.
Then you get to the end of his career where it's Ghosts of Mars, The Ward.
Is this the Memoirs of an Invisible Man? Because this is like halfway through. Like, hopefully Kevin will live many years longer, can make many more movies. But this kind of seems at like a point where it's like, I don't know what I'm saying in this art form.
I'm really scouring for an example, and it's really hard. I feel like the pivot is so specific that nothing is sticking out. I'm like, what's a favorite by a director, and what's something they would make now that would be like this level? And it's hard.
Soderbergh is the closest comparison that I can make, and that just he's all over the place of what he does.
I think Soderbergh is considerably more accomplished, not even still, than Kevin Smith has ever been. But I do understand what you mean. I do understand what you mean, like the swings, because he goes, from because Ocean's 11 was a huge blockbuster.
Exactly.
And he went from that to Full Frontal and Bubble like pretty quickly, like literally within a couple of years, and Girlfriend Experience only a few years after that. And he's never really reached those heights again, as much as he is still kind of making movies that come out wide and are very handsomely mounted and whatever.
But he's still been so prolific about what he is actually outputting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so like a Linklater is another director who's got parallels with Smith, but has never, ever, ever reached a nadir like anything Smith has ever hit.
Yeah. No, I mean, the only thing I could think about, what's the Rotoscope movie? Not Scanner Darkly, which we covered, but the like
Waking
8.5 or... No.
Oh, Apollo 10.5? That movie is a
Apollo
masterpiece. 10.5. That movie is great.
I haven't seen it.
That movie is terrific.
But I don't feel like anyone really talked about that movie after it came out. It doesn't exist
because it came out on Netflix. It came out on straight to Netflix. It didn't get put in theater. So it's like, then I guess it just isn't a thing. But that movie is one of his best films of the last 15 years, I think. This is coming from a Waking Life guy. Like, Waking Life is my favorite movie, so of course I ride for anything Linklater does rotoscope-wise, but yeah.
I think it was me that put it on Weekly Podcast Massacre, but Scanner Darkly is a fucking masterpiece. That movie is so fucking good. It really revitalized the Robert Downey Jr. trajectory of should have won an Oscar for that. Weirdo.
Yeah, he's amazing in that movie. He's like one of it's like, to me, the platonic ideal of a Robert Downey Jr. performance. Like,
right. When he's talking about the gears on a bike
yeah,
and how there's missing gears.
I guess I'm like, Tim Burton is somebody who I would say has also fallen in a really severe way, but not at all like Kevin Smith. Like, he has fallen into just like, he makes big blockbusters that suck.
Right.
But they're still in theaters.
Yeah. I make NFT movies, that. I would be shocked to see that happen to someone like Tim Burton.
Has he done any streaming movies? I don't think so.
He hasn't done streaming movies, but he did Wednesday. Like, he directed. Wednesday. So it's close enough, I would say.
Because I was kind of thinking the same thing with maybe like Guy Ritchie, but also like even his lowest lows is like Will Smith live action Aladdin movie. It's not.
They come out in theaters. Yeah. They're huge, even if no one ever thinks about them. Totally.
What the Distinguished Gentleman or what, Ungentlemanly, whatever, Ministry of Ungentlemanly, whatever, all that.
Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. Let's put some respect on Guy Ritchie's name, okay? Mm-hmm. Guy Ritchie's The Covenant.
I did not enjoy as a whole movie, but I thought Alan Richardson and Henry Cavill were amazing in that movie. But like overall, I was like, whatever. It's it's.
I didn't see it. I gotta admit, even if I like Guy Ritchie, I didn't see that one. That really, there's no one quite like Kevin.
That's true. I mean, it's
I have to say, we need to talk about Kevin. I know we've been doing it for almost 3 hours now, but we need to talk about Kevin.
I'm going to say I concur, and let's now fully start our podcast about Kevin Smith right here and now.
All right, Chris, delete everything we've done so far.
This is good warm up. Let's get into KillRoy Was Here round 2. No, not a good movie. Sorry, Kevin, if you ever listen to this, which I hope you don't.
Chris is going to be sending this to him day after day. Like, will you please listen to my podcast about KillRoy Was Here? So
that's the thing, is that part of my final thoughts on this, I have to make it known that I do not hate Kevin Smith. I feel like I like him as a person, if not necessarily as a filmmaker. He's given me a lot of joy just listening to him talk over the years. So I have no ill will towards Mr. Smith, and that is an important preface to what I'm about to say. As I was watching this movie, KillRoy Was Here, I was reminded a lot of a bit from a stand-up set by Doug Stanhope that came out in like 2007. And basically the premise of the joke was like, maybe I'm just out of shit. Maybe I'm out of material. So if I die today, don't ever say I died too young, because when you have these celebrities like Kurt Cobain or Jimi Hendrix die at a young age, everyone's like, oh, he was so young and he had so much to offer. But how do you know that? Maybe they were out of shit. Maybe if Jimi Hendrix hadn't died, he would be playing Super Bowl halftime shows with Elton John, and you would be watching it thinking to yourself, why didn't this guy die? He was my hero. This is embarrassing. Which is to say, like, obviously I don't want anything bad to happen to Kevin Smith, but if his career
have been more enshrined as a godly filmmaker if when that heart attack happened, he had just dropped dead completely.
Exactly. If that had happened, perhaps people would be saying he died too soon. He had so much left to offer.
One of the greats. Like a Bob Fosse.
Yeah.
That sounds like super fucked up, but it was just something I kept thinking of. And it does relate back to the whole Tarantino being acutely aware of legacy in a way that Mr. Smith isn't.
Yeah, Tarantino unfortunately doesn't realize that the things he says publicly are also part of that legacy, and where he lives and chooses to defend as a place to live is also part of his legacy. And I think that it's like, well, now no matter what your fucking final movie is, some of the people who love your work are going to be like, but at the end of the day, he was a fucking asshole,
Yeah.
Well, that's because he's a wife guy.
Well, yeah, I can't. I would always come to the defense of that, but not at those ends. That also that's very similar to a monologue from Breaking Bad, where Walter White is like, I wish I had there was a perfect time where I could have died, and I wish it would have been that. Mm-hmm. It's a bleak thought, but it is true sometimes when you think about people who just go and go and go and go and go, and you're like, I don't know. Sad.
Maybe they're out of shit.
Spielberg after Minority Report,
Get the
yeah.
His best work remained. His best work was yet to come.
West Side Story, I agree.
West Side Story. No, Tintin. Warhorse. Ready Player One. One thing I'll give Kevin Smith credit for is he propped up Matt Johnson very early in his career. He helped get The Dirties distributed. Pretty sick movie. Pretty sick career from Matt Johnson so far.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. That's one pretty cool thing. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
He doesn't do a lot of that these days, like helping new filmmakers. Except for KillRoy Was Here, where he helped all of those students learn how to make a good movie.
They've all rocketed to stardom.
Mm-hmm. Kane Parsons was one of those children. No.
Yeah, we just didn't know it. He hasn't talked about that in all of those interviews. Do you think when Kevin Smith finally leaves us, the headlines will say, Kevin was here?
Yes.
Silent Bob was here.
Silent Bob, no more.
Finally really silent. That's what people are going to be saying about this episode right now.
Yeah. So, long story short, KillRoy sucks.
KillRoy was bad.
Extremely crass in the way it was distributed. Crass and commercial in a way that I find extremely distasteful, especially considering the source of one of our indie darlings that we all love very much.
And don't want to die.
Yeah, you're talking about KillRoy, right? Not Kevin Smith? Yeah.
So I give it, I don't know, 1.5 Ralph Garmans or whatever we're doing.
I can't even think of what I would rate this film.
I'm a pretty flat 1 on this.
I think that's fair enough. It just
looks bad too. I get that he's not a technical filmmaker, but Jesus Christ, get someone who knows what the fuck they're doing. I feel bad because it probably is like student cinematographers, but it just looks so flat most of the time as well.
It's tough. It looks bad.
Yeah. Cheap digital. It has a look. And
it does. Cheap digital
but
and like color grading. Like this is a very like, this film has a grade.
Mm-hmm.
But
I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
We've talked about Soderbergh. Like Soderbergh could have made this work. But visually, I would much rather have Soderbergh at the helm of this than a Smith, who has no real idea about like composition, lighting, any lenses that we're using. It's just like you're not made for that kind of thing.
I guess
and if you're not getting the right people to help support you and prop you up, then you're obviously going to fail at whatever you're trying.
Mm-hmm.
And he did.
I mean, he made a profit, so...
Yes.
So thumbs up.
So fuck you, Shudder.
I give this film $1 million out of 1 million. What are the secret coins? What are those things called? Secret bucks? You don't have to look it up.
No, I do. Ugh. God.
Wrapped secret.
Where to go?
Wrapped secret bucks.
1-to-1 wrapped version of the Secret Network's native coin secret.
I'm glad we took the time for that.
Yes. So it's probably impossible that we have anything left yet to say on KillRoy Is Here.
I don't.
Rob's fading. He's 2 time zones ahead. He's got to go to bed, so...
It is, yeah. It's past my bedtime. I just saw that an episode that I set to drop at 12:05 a.m. has dropped. While we were recording this, we did a bonus episode about Disclosure Day for the show, and it just dropped. I looked down at my phone and it said, Disclosure Day episode is here.
So on that note, Rob, why don't you tell us about anything else you have in the works that you want people to know about?
Oh boy. So I co-host a podcast called Box Office Gross, where we talk about the box office bonanzas of 20 years ago. So right now we're talking about the films of 2006. We're right in the middle of summer 2006. So we'll be dropping an episode about Superman Returns very soon. Also about the Adam Sandler film Click. Wow. And very, very soon we will be talking about Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest, which is the biggest film of 2006. So that'll be a really interesting conversation. We've got cool guests coming back for that one. So yeah, we talk about these films. We kind of try to place them in context of their time and think about what they mean now, if anything. And yeah, it's a fun time. And I co-host it with Brian Schmid, the great Brian Schmid, who has been on Dead Formats as well. And I write intermittently, very intermittently lately. I create video art or films or something. Those are on YouTube. And that's about it at the moment.
Hell yeah. How about you, Murph?
I am one of the co-hosts of Weekly Podcast Massacre, where we talk about horror movies with a new theme each month. So we are in the middle of Six Lie, which is the 6th anniversary of our podcast, and we are talking about part 6s of franchises we have never discussed before. So please join us. For 13th, we probably are just covering Greg's pick, which is like Frankenstein and the Monster. Some fucking Hammer movie with Peter Cushing. I can't remember the name of it right now.
Some Greg ass shit.
Fucking exactly. But thank you all for listening. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe anywhere you get this podcast. We have email weeklypodcastmassacre@gmail.com, both Threads, Instagram, and Blue Sky @weeklymassacre. We have in Blue Sky @Dead Formats, and then at Worms Green Realm @Blue Sky. So please check out Dead Formats and Rob on Box Office Growth. Both great podcasts, which I've also been on, but you can listen to other episodes besides mine. I am Murph and Turf, both on Blue Sky and Letterboxd. So please let us know if you got your home after the housing market collapse, if you know Marky Mark's powers, or if you write, or if your wife swipes for you, we want to hear from you. And until next time, whatever she says, do not let her podcast.
I actually should also note that we have an email. My show has an email, boxofficegross@gmail.com. I forgot to mention that. I would love people to email us. I just want to read email. So even if
sounds like you're copying.
Even if you even if you have literally never listened to our show and you're just hearing me on Dead Formats right now, shoot us an email at boxofficegross@gmail.com to let me know what you thought about the conversation here on Dead Formats. I would love to hear from you.
The first podcast to release as an NFT, and what they want to do is use it to showcase their blockchain technology. So thank you guys for coming and breathing life into this Dead Format with me. On behalf of Rob and Murph, I'm Chris. See you later.
Bye.
On the next episode of Dead Formats, we'll be joined once again by George from the Best Little Horror House in Philly and Cron Howard from 5 Day Rentals to discuss a Japanese 1994 children's fantasy epic. Here's a hint.
Kappa? Cappuccino? That makes me hyper.